Okay, guys. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for joining us on the spaces this Monday evening. So we're going to be having an emergency space this evening, just to rectify a few issues going on in our communities here in the UK. Of course, I'm sure we all can say exactly what's been going on for the past few days in the UK itself, which is very, very, very disturbing itself. And I'm afraid it's a problem beyond our control. But what we need to do about it, how do we manage it, and of course, the way forward itself as a community itself. So the UK has erupted into Charles since, of course, last week. I think it's last week Monday, and of course, a lot of things have been going on lately, and of course, which is very, very, very disturbing. At the end of the day, we need to, of course, talk about these things, and then, of course, how to find a way moving forward when it comes to this kind of situation, so which is beyond our control itself. The UK erupted into Charles sometime last week after violent protests have taken hold of the whole country, leaving police officers with broken noses, buildings on fire, and of course, a lot of shops are being looted itself as well. Just a weekend gone, there were a lot of dozens of protests where they were planned across Britain with police forces on standby for, of course, more disruption itself that's been going on all over the place around the UK at present. It comes as the country has been engulfed by a week of just total violent protests, violent riots, sparked, of course, by the Southport stabbing frenzy that killed three little girls in Merseyside Southport last week Monday itself. So, well, so as far we're concerned, which we know the PM himself called it a far right augury. And the sad part is actually happening in quite a lot of cities here in the UK itself. It's happening in Sunderland, Blackburn, Belfast, Bristol, Manchester, Hull, Liverpool, Stoke, Leicester, Nottingham, Blackpool, Portsmouth, just last week Sunday, which was yesterday. Some happened in Rotherham. Rotherham, in fact, the building where the immigrants were staying, I think the asylum seekers were actually burnt. The Holiday Inn Hotel was burnt in Middlesbrough. In fact, there's a couple of people that blocked the road. Quite a few of them blocked the road. So if you're a black person or maybe a person of color, Muslim, whether they like to attack you, only white people are allowed to drive past. Aldershot Bolton. I mean, very very disturbing case. In fact, uh, in Burnley itself, Muslim gravestones within a cemetery in Burnley have been vandalized and all with white spit on top of it. So this is just beyond the norm. A lot of things are going on, but we have to talk about this in itself. For me, it's very, very disturbing, and we have to find a way moving forward. So this evening, I have the Councillor of Turkey, Councillor for Racial Equality, Councillor Turkey, who's also on the space to educate us and enlighten us. We also have the our brother with us, Michael Morgan, who also will be joining us on the space to have a conversation. Of course, how can we protect ourselves as immigrants in the UK? And for me, safety is the most important thing as an immigrant in the UK itself. How do we secure ourselves to make sure we're safe? Just yesterday, a member of our community, his door was banged in Middlesbrough. I mean, he was shaking. He had to go and run and hide himself. But he's going to speak on the space himself in the next couple of, before the end of the space, to tell us exactly what happened and everything itself at the end of the day. So for me, let's have a way forward and discuss these things and then take it from there. So I'm going to give the mic to our councillor of Turkey Council, Racial Equality himself, a wonderful councillor, Jermaine. Thank you, Mr. Jermaine, for coming on the space this evening. And I'm sorry, we're just having the matters arising space about the situation itself. So, from your point of view as a councillor in Turkey, based in England, I mean, there's not even that many migrants in Turkey itself. How are you feeling yourself? And of course, what are the ways forward for us to protect ourselves as migrants in the UK? The mic is yours. Thank you, sir.
No, thank you, and very good evening, and thank you very much for inviting me here tonight. My Before I do continue, my thoughts are with the families that have obviously lost their young children this time last week, and I don't think anyone could have thought, you know, how far we've got. I don't think anyone could have thought a week on that I'm sat here now in Torquay and I am watching a potential protest in Plymouth at the moment that is kicking off. Who knew that we were going to get to this point? Um, what I am going to say is, for me, I have been out and about in my ward that I represent. I have been continuing as usual because if we don't continue, our normal way of life, then these people win. These far right thugs, or domestic terrorists as I call them, they win. So my advice is going forward for people of this group here um, is if you do feel threatened in your community, you need to walk out in groups where possible. That way you're better protected. What I also going to say to you is that please, if you get any intelligence in your local community that something could be happening, please report it to the police straight away. And it doesn't matter where you have to put 999 onto it, just do it. Or please report it to your local council or community leaders who will also have contacts with the police as well. The more of you, the more of you guys that can do this, obviously, the better it is, for the police, local councils, and community leaders to be able to deploy resources in the right areas as and when. Um, like I said, for myself as a person of color and a black person myself, I've watched these protests for the last week, um, and I watched yesterday's sickening attack on the hotel in where was it, Middlesbrough? No, it was in Rotherham, and also the attacks in Middlesbrough. And and I also watched some footage that someone sent to me of a black person being randomly attacked in a protest in Bristol just because of his skin color. Many people. over this last week have encountered that just because of skin color and because of the religion they support. And it saddens me. It saddens me a lot because yeah, we're start progress has been made in this country, but obviously not enough. Do I think the police are doing enough? With this, there's only so many resources in the country for the police to be able to deal with this. You got to think about the cutbacks as well. Um, it's not an easy situation as someone who's a black person. I will say that. And I do, when I'm walking around, I am a little bit more wary now of my surroundings and what is going on. But I still continue to do my job. I still continue to do my duties that I was elected to do, and I'm also working on the response just in case anything does kick off in Torquay over the next few days. I am working on a response with the council and the police as well.
Okay, all right, fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you, Councillor. I mean, for someone like you, who's also a councillor in Turkey, and then you're even more scared. So, what should the rest of us feel like yourself at all times? So, you're saying that if you're gonna go now, probably you're better off to go in groups. Does that make sense? Am I
Yeah,
right?
so let me just reiterate that. So yeah, so it depends where you are in the country. Now, if you know, if you are in any of these hotspots that are kicking off at the moment, please do walk in groups. Just for your own safety. The more of you there is, the easier it is to defend against these people. And that's what I'm saying. And also, you feel safer walking in a group as well in these hotspots. Now, where I'm in Torquay, I've been lucky so far that we've not had any protests here. Well, there was one that was due to happen last Friday, but it never happened. Thank God. I've been walking out and about in my local area by myself, and I've just been wary and just taking precautions and just letting people know where I'm going, what I'm doing.
Okay. I get your points. Okay. Thank you, Councillor. I'll be right back to you in a second. Let's get our other guest speaker on board, Michael. Michael has been an advocate of a black community for many, many years in the UK, and someone who also fights for black rights against the police, and so many, many things he's done. Michael, I know you've been in the UK for many years and stuff. I mean, how very disturbing is this for you? And are you shocked, or you're not surprised at all? The mic is just Michael.
I'm not surprised at all. If we look at the climate of the previous government, this was always on the back burner. This was always coming down the track, especially when, by way of the way in which the government normalized the sentiments that we are now seeing spilling out onto the street. Stop the boats doesn't really sound that dissimilar from we want our country back. And this is what's been screamed. I was unfortunate or even fortunate to watch a live stream just as Councillor was watching in Plymouth. Now, it just strikes me as one of the things which what I'm going to tell you basically is just common sense. Stay away from these protests. Don't go towards them. They're not a spectator sport. There were people there getting pelted with rocks who thought that they were just going to be onlookers. There were people there who were being attacked by police dogs. They thought they were going to be onlookers. Now, the key thing about all of this is no, it isn't a surprise. If you look, the writing has been on the wall since the 70s. What's playing out now is a little bit extreme, though, in that social media has actually galvanized troops up and down the country. Whereas in the 70s, there wasn't this way in which you could actually inform people where to actually convene, where to actually attack, where to actually meet. The frightening thing is this meeting, this convening can be done in minutes as opposed to days. And that's the worrying thing. You might find yourself being caught up in a protest, is how they're actually terming it in the media. But it's, for me, it's a riot. It's a full scale riot. And it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse because you have people online who are actually emboldening, inflaming the situations. And if you look at how this has actually unfolded over the last week or so, I would say weak government is does play a part here as well. Instead of coming out in the first few days, we had to wait several days before we heard from Keir Starmer. And it does lend itself, that reaction, to what was said by Diane Abbott not long ago, and that is there is a hierarchy of racism. I can't imagine for a second, and with respect, and I say this respectfully, if there were Jewish brothers and sisters on the street getting beaten, as you have probably seen on various viral videos over the last few days, that Keir Starmer wouldn't have spoken sooner, wouldn't have actually acted sooner. But why is it that it's black people and he's acting so slow? But this, I do feel, if not contained by those people stoking up the fires, if not contained by the government, um, this is only going to get worse. We've seen misinformation, which is actually muddying things as well, which is, I think, going to play a major part in this as well. Demonstrations haven't been actually confirmed for Walthamstow, but all day you've heard rumours, all day you've heard these posts circulating of various places up and down the country where there will be demonstrations. And as I say, I'm stopping calling them demonstrations, they're riots. Just one last thing in terms of like keeping yourself safe out there. Have your head on a swivel. Don't do the normal thing that you would do if you're walking by yourself. Have your headphones on, have your head down, looking at your mobile phone. Employ common sense. Walk in at least, or have at least two people with you when you're walking. Have, if you are able to, if you do have the means by which to do this, stop taking public transport where you do have these hotspots cropping up. Grab an Uber, grab a taxi. As I say, all of this is kind of common sense. Basically, stay away from where there is going to be conflict. And one good thing of actually finding out what's transpiring is Twitter accounts, notable Twitter accounts, Twitter accounts that you can trust. Alumo, I have to say, is one of those which I would say is a trusted source. Don't go off rumor, don't go off conjecture, don't go off hearsay, go off trusted sources, obviously news outlets as well, but also follow the hashtags. If you click on the search button, it should actually tell you what are the trending topics. Now, when I last clicked, and literally it was 10 minutes ago, Birmingham was trending and Plymouth was trending. And that's because there are two demonstrations taking place right now. And as I say, Plymouth seems to be getting out of hand, wildly out of hand. Birmingham, I would be very surprised. I would be shocked. I would be amazed if it doesn't follow the same suit.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Michael. Thank you, thank you. Just a question I want to also put across to you. I also agree with your submission. The fact that when you look at the last Conservative Party, the whole stop the boats from even Rishi Sunak was not very British like. I don't think you get my point because yes, I understand what the government is trying to do. Obviously, stop illegal immigrants in a certain way, but the word "stop the boats" just sounds like something a bit too coincidental somehow. And of course, it's made the institution a law worse as well. I was just looking at an article that came out recently, and in fact, 60% of Reform Party's voters were under 30s, white under 30s, which is British citizens under 30. When you look at the general election that happened on the 4th of July. So for me, it's like when I read, I was just like, I was just trying to think in my mind, Reform Party's 60% of voters who voted for Reform Party in the UK on the 4th of July just last month where 60% of under 30s white British people are just like, okay. I mean, to the best of my knowledge, when you look at the Reform Party of Nigel Farage is a racist party. You look at, I think we have quite a couple of them in the UK. It's sort of like a British National Party, the National Scottish, no socialist movement. We have the Greater Britain movement, the British movement. There's a National Democratic Party, the NF, which is the National Front. We also have the National Independence Party. All of them have been around for many, many years. And this is not just even the first time something like this has happened. Do you think the government is not doing enough about changing some laws at the parliament when it comes to when you look at I remember a couple of years ago the National NF had a big issue They were attacking people many years ago, and then they obviously went quiet again. A couple of them were arrested. We had the British National Party, and now we have the Reform Party. Do you think there's something we also need the government to do more? Or is our voices not loud enough when you look at the black communities in the UK? Are we not speaking enough ourselves? Or is it because we don't have the right people in the right places? But then when you look back as well, the former British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is a British Asian. You look at the Home Secretary we've had in couple of months, years down the line, from Priti Patel to Sule Braverman, we've had James Cleverly, and I think, I mean, that would have maybe sort of given us sort of the right balance. I mean, we've had under Lister, we've had a Kwateng, the first black councillor ever in the history of this country. So do you think that momentum changed, or is it clearly that we have some of our people at the right places, but still their voices are not loud enough? The mic is yours, Michael.
I think not only are our voices not loud enough, we're not saying the right thing. We're not being honest. We're not being open, and we're not calling things as we see it. I'll give you an example. Look, Keir Starmer, supposedly the new prime minister, how many times did he say racist, and how many times did he say racism in his address to the nation? This is what this is. This is far right racism, not far right thuggery. It's racism, indiscriminate, pulling people out of their cars because they are black or brown, not the same color as you, is racism. And in terms of the voices across the piece, now, I don't really believe in a democracy that we're going to silence those people who have opposing voices. But what we can do is to take them to task. You tried with David Atherton, who is a massive instigator in terms of igniting and fanning the flames of what we're seeing unfolding on our UK streets. You've got Tommy Robinson, you've got Richard Tice, you've got Nigel Farage. All of these voices need to be challenged. So it's not just about being loud, it's about being bold enough to take these people to task where you see them, what platforms you see them on, and being open and frank in the dialogue and being concise. But more importantly, being bold in your language, not actually hiding behind rhetoric. Call things out as you see them.
Okay, well, thank you, Michael. Thank you for that. And by the way, talking about Dave Atherton, obviously we had him on our space a couple of weeks ago, and the fact is, everything he said on the space wasn't what I mean, it's followed up. I mean, a couple of weeks down the line. I mean, to be honest, a couple of days, he sounded like a changed person, and then a couple of days down the line, I'm like, oh my god. And the funny part
Sorry
is,
to interrupt you
yeah,
there.
go
Sorry to
Michael.
interrupt you. You know that David Atherton came on your space disingenuous. You know he was a wolf in sheep's clothing. Nothing he said on the timeline he was prepared to either debate or be open with. Have you noticed him ever say on the timeline, I have a Ghanaian girlfriend in my past? No, because he knows which gallery he's playing to, right? Also, if you think about it, he would never ever be backing down because he has a captive audience. His account is monetized. He knows every time that he says something incendiary, inflammatory, he is basically in a situation where he's earning money. So let's just have it right. This is a wolf in sheep's clothing and someone who should never and should not be trusted.
Okay, well, fair enough. I sort of agree with you there because I mean, I'm always open to people having a second chance. And for me, it was just us obviously talking about issues when he came on our program to educate him and enlighten him to understand. Listen, mate, a lot of migrants coming here, a lot of students are coming here, paying their school fees, adding to the British economy. We have over 10,000 Nigerians, for example, who work at NHS. Of course, we look at the Indian population. So many of them also will work with the NHS as well. So all these things were a plus. But I guess sometimes some of these people, they sort of have their mindset key to certain parts. If there was a
So just one last thing.
yeah, sure.
I do believe, as I say, look, in open dialogue, I do believe in taking these people to task. I do believe in challenging them. But the way in which we challenge and the tone has got to be right. We cannot be laughing and keying up with these people. No, we've got to drape them up by their words. We've got to take them to task by what we see on their timeline and relentlessly keep going back at them until they are honest, until they are open. There was no way that I was coming up on that stage that day to be laughing and joking and keying. So I was a bit surprised, and this is no criticism. It's just a point of fact that there were people on this stage who were laughing and keying with a racist. No, we rough them up. We make sure they know where they stand, and that what they say cannot stand.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Michael. Thank you for that. Councillor, Councillor Jermaine, from your experience of being a councillor in the UK yourself, what is the way forward for us as a migrant? I mean, do you think we need to come out millions and droves to put an end to this? What is the way forward for you?
The way forward for me is absolutely what Michael was saying is we need to stand up to the likes of Farage, what's his name, Tommy Robson, and the rest of the undesirable people that are going around spouting out this, this absolute bile, which is what they're doing. Um, with Farage, it's going to take longer now um, because obviously now him and Richard Tice and the other three MPs, they're all MPs now. They've got a platform. They're going to be there for the next 5 years. But we can defeat people by the ballot box. We can also defeat these people by education, by going out there to educate our communities. There's one fantastic organization that I have links with that does purposely go out into the community, um, and they educate people within African food, because we all know food is a winner at the end of the day. But it's a way into people, to try and get them to educate people into people's cultures, and that's what we need to be doing. And I also do think that education around immigration needs to be done, um, because unfortunately, the likes of Farage, the likes of Robson, they've got this space, haven't they? Now they've got this vacuum on the right because the Conservative Party, obviously, they're too busy talking to themselves after the election defeat. Um, and so now, Farage, he's a media darling. So wherever he turns up, all the cameras turn up. And you've got the BBC at the moment who are absolutely slavish to Farage as well. And that doesn't help. So what we need to educate people in our community going, well, yes, these people have come across from a different country. They're not bad people. They're here because actually they want to improve their lives. They're here because they are actually going to contribute to our health service, for example. They're here and they set up a local business where they're contributing to our local economy. So if we can have education around that in a positive way, I think that would be definitely be the way forward. Um, in terms of, like I said, I just want to go back with what Michael's saying as well. That during the general election campaign, there was a poll out, and they were asking people what is people's priorities in the general election, and it was a poll of about 20,000 people, and immigration and stopping the boats was at number 6. The top three were fixing the NHS, cost of living crisis, I think I can't remember, and obviously jobs and education. And like I said,
Okay,
immigration, stopping the boats
absolutely.
was at number 6. And
Thank
what's
you.
happened since is so what's happened since is um, you know, Farage, since he's been in Parliament, has been at it every single day. And unfortunately, it's sad that these killings have happened. And the minute those killings have happened, they've used immigration as a smokescreen so they can go out and attack innocent bystanders.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Councillor Jeremy. Jeremy, for that. I appreciate that. So, Councillor Jermaine, sorry. So we have on the space one of our members who's based in Middlesbrough. In fact, there's an incident that happened to Mr. Cecil. I'm just going to let him speak himself for everybody to hear. Good evening, Cecil. How are you today? The mic is yours.
Good
What
evening,
happened
sir.
exactly on to you the past couple of days, 24, the last 24 hours? Go ahead, please.
I've been indoors throughout because what I actually witnessed and experienced yesterday isn't something I've never witnessed in my entire life. So I got home from church at around 2 p.m. when the riot.
Cecil, we can't hear you at all. Ifoma, can you hear me? Can you hear him?
No, I can't hear him. I think his network has gone off.
Okay.
Passed.
Cecil. Yeah,
Hello,
okay.
yeah,
Can you
can you hear
start
me?
again? Because
Yes.
couldn't hear you. Can you start again, please?
I said I was coming home from church yesterday around 2 p.m. and at the city center, the Albert Square, they actually blocked the road. There was a lot of police, and it got to a point the white people they blocked the road and they only allowed whites to pass. Like if you were in a car, if you were walking as a black person, you were not allowed to pass. So that alone had already instilled a lot of fear into me. So I rushed home because someone actually picked me up from a car and dropped me. So when I got home, I just locked myself in my door, and in the next like 20, 30 minutes, the riot people, they came, they were banging on the door and they were throwing stones at the door. And I was like, what's actually going on? And I couldn't go out, I couldn't do anything. I was just hoping. In fact, I had to off all the lights. In the worst case scenario, I was thinking if they entered my room or if they entered the house, I would be in my room and probably they would just loot the house, but they wouldn't be able to get inside my room. I was scared and I've never felt like that before. What happened yesterday, I don't know. It just seems like out of a horror movie. But something I noticed from everything was that it's as if, in my own opinion, it's as if someone just paid these people that, oh, just come and cause chaos, and you get paid £10, £15. Because what they were actually doing is not, it doesn't correlate to what they are talking about. And the bunch of people that were causing the destructions are young boys, age 12, 11, 13. They were throwing stones. In fact, there was a lady here that they actually broke down her door. They threw stones, broke the glass, and she had her children inside and they were crying. They were crying inside and they were just laughing, mocking, attacking anybody on the street. So I was just home. I was following the trends. I was watching what was happening online, and I saw that Tisai University, which of course I'm currently a student in, and I saw that the gym, the library, the student union, it has been attacked, and it's the same mob, the same young boys. So I'm just like, why are they doing this? Do they actually understand what they are doing? They also went to Iceland and, they were just looting and taking something as small as a milkshake, milk drink, cheese. As in, if you want to loot, you even take something valuable, not that kind of thing. So for me, I just felt like it's like these people, they were just told, oh, come here and come and get some likes. Because the people that were doing it, they were live streaming it and they were laughing and making jokes about it and they were just having fun. I'm wondering, is this actually a protest or were they just paid or someone just told them, oh, come and cause this chaos and maybe you gain 100 followers on TikTok? And it begs to wonder that what are actually the parents doing? Because for me, I've come to realize since being in this country like 9 months now, I've come to realize that racism is actually taught. It's not inherited. It's not, racism is actually taught. And it wasn't very nice. I've experienced a lot of racism here, and I got spat on at the bus station. I was just going to work and I just got spat on by a mother and her son. And I'm just wondering, like, how do these things happen? So for me, it's as a result of, I just feel that the government, this is what happens when the government wants to score points. They use immigration to score points to win the favor of their own citizens and to give excuse for everything that is happening. So, and they don't know. So they don't even know what they are doing. So it's just an unfortunate situation. But as it is now, I've been trapped inside the house since yesterday. So I actually wanted to go out this evening to get to school and work on my dissertation. But unfortunately, I was told that they are planning another protest by 8 p.m. So I said, okay, better safe than sorry. And in another city that is close to me, Stockton, I've actually seen some pictures and some videos that yes, they're actually protesting over there now. So I just said, okay, let me stay inside and let's see how it will go. Maybe by tomorrow, I'll be able to do what I want to do. Thank you very much.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Cecil. Thank you for sharing your part as well. Quick question. First one to you is that have you got food at home and drinks at home at all?
No, not really. But, hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to get something. I
Okay.
was caught off guard, so I wasn't aware. So, but I'll be able to get something by tomorrow.
Okay. Okay. Fantastic. All right. The when that incident happened to you, where the mother spat at you, said at the time, did you report it to the police at all? You didn't report it.
No, I did not. I
Okay,
did not.
good. Okay, okay. I think it's very, very important that in the future, I don't know people on this space. I think it's important that we have all these issues. So don't just think next time. And I know we sometimes as black people, Nigerians, we overlook things, but that was a it was racial crime. So you should have reported it. So please, moving forward, anyone on this space, if anything like that happens to you in the future, please let's report it. They'll give the police will give a reference. It's also good for you as well. Very, very important. Because at the end of the day, anyone can get triggered, that kind of stuff. So yeah, moving forward, please let's do that next time itself. I know you've been indoors for the past 24 hours yourself. How are you feeling now? Safety wise and everything. How are you feeling at all in general?
It sucks. It sucks. If I'm going to be honest with you, it sucks because I already have so much on my mind, thinking of how to submit my dissertation, trying to get a job. As I told you that I recently just lost my job. It was another kind of, office hostility and stuff like that. But, and then this now happening. So it really it doesn't look well, and, it really affects someone's mental health. But I just try to stay positive and know that, oh, it will sort itself out. But the British people really need to awaken. They really need to wake up and realize that we are the ones that are actually helping them. Honestly, it's just misdirected anger, misdirected rage, and misdirected anger. That's just it.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Cecil. Thank you. I mean, it's actually unfortunate because I remembered when you sent the DM to me, was it not just a week ago that you lost your job and everything, and then this not happen again? Unbelievable. By the way, just send me your CV. Let's push your CV out to a few people in the community. And what you can also do, just put in the community. Maybe we can find someone. In fact, there's a gentleman on this space called Brother Femi. Let me hear them say, okay. I don't know if you can see his hand. Brother Femi is Wole Wole Niger. He's head of Nigerians in Middlesbrough. Please reach out to him. There's also a gentleman called Sir Larry. I will send you both of them's handle. Reach out to them. I'm sure that they could definitely help you find something in Middlesbrough. If it's just something for now, to pay bills, that kind of stuff. Because this is
Yes.
UK bills they choke, understand that kind of stuff. So it will definitely help. And then also, please, if you're in this space, let's join the union. Very, very important. I mean, I'm sure that you hear what Sister said, office hospitality. There's so many things. In fact, a gentleman was telling me just a couple of weeks ago that they sacked the whole four people in their workplace. And guess what? They were all black. And there's just the flimsiest excuse to get rid of them. The new management came in suddenly. Whenever one of them does a mistake, you know, before they get rid of them and stuff. What about other people, like the white people? They're wearing, they were getting overlooked and stuff. So please, let's join a union. Very, very important. A union can fight so many, many things for you.
Yes,
Just
that's what.
yeah, go on,
Sorry,
quickly, quickly,
sorry.
please.
That's what happened to me at my former workplace because I was working at Taco Bell. So two white ladies actually reported me. One said I extorted her for money, and the other said I wanted to follow her home. So, and trust me, these same people, I saw them on the road in the city center, and I asked them if there was any issue, and they said no. So, unfortunately, when they reported to the managers didn't even call me to ask me what my own side of the story. They already handed me a suspension letter first before they now started asking me my own side of the story. They now took it to the HR in charge of the restaurant for Middlesbrough and Newcastle. I now had to face a disciplinary committee. All these things have been happening in the past 2 weeks. And on top of that, I was actually given a quick notice by my landlord. So I was just like, wow. So when the UK wants to deal with you, it really knows how to deal with you. So when I, talked to my colleagues in the Nigerian Teesside University group, they were like, I should have joined the union. And I was like, I was not aware about the union and everything. But at the end of the day, I just looked at it that because the way they twisted the whole story, and they were now like terming me, they were kind of using some kind of words that could get you in trouble here in this country. So I decided to just walk away rather than appealing the case, because they were like, I could appeal it, but I said no, it's better let me just walk away. So it is what it is.
It's okay, Cecil. I'm hoping there'll be some good news for you in the next couple of weeks. Also, there's a one of our mentors called Madam Ronkeke. I'm also going to send you a handle. Reach out to her about this particular incident. She lives not too far away from around that area, and I'm just hoping one of the people, Brother Wole Naja, is on the space, and Salari is also on the space. I'm just hoping one of them will be able to help you and just get you some time. Really sorry about your situation. But even with the accommodation, speak to Larry. Larry has helped a lot of people as well for accommodation, and then it's not the end of the world. This is why we have a community. Whatever problems you have or issues, feel free to also put it out in the community. People always come to your aid and help in their little ways as much as they can. And also, once again, please, if you're on this space, tell a loved one, tell a family member, join the union. I'm surprised to see that you've never heard this before. We've said it on spaces so many times. We've treated in community so many times. There's a lot of reasons why. 9 Nigerians got sacked in a workplace in London recently. But I can't say certain things because of confidential reasons why. There's a reason why they got sacked. And guess what? If not a single one of them was a member of a union. When I reached out to ABCD people, they said if just one of them was a member of a union, what happened would never happen, and then they would even be compensated. So we need to learn from each other's mistakes. So please, for the sake of God Almighty, Allah, everything, I'm begging everybody here, join a union. A lot is going on. In fact, let me put it this way: a member of our community, at least one member of our community, is getting sacked almost once in 2 weeks and the workplace. This is not just care. IT sector, different, even tech, so many different reasons why. But like I said, a lot of them have an undertone of different racial issues, but it's not my place to say A, B, C, D. But if you join a union, they'll be able to fight that case for you. And of course, make sure you've been fairly treated. I'm just looking open to see so here. But please, let's do the needful itself. This part of the world, a lot of things are happening, but you have to learn from someone's mistakes to make sure you also, not, going backwards, and then of course you're making progress. So, sister, I'm going to come back to you. I have one or two messages for you in my DM. Just hold on. So I'm going to get back to you in a sec. Let's hear from other people as well. Mrs. Chibuzo, good evening. The mic is yours, please. Go ahead. Mrs. Chibuzo? Oh, Ifoma,
Hello.
go ahead. Ifoma,
Yeah.
Ifoma.
So thank you, Cecilia. So based on Ade acceptance, I think Ade should go first before Miss Chibuzo. So Miss Chibuzo, please pardon us. Ade came up first. So hello, Ade.
Hi, yeah, it's a great space with great information. I think in these dark times, people need to really just work with each other and find ways of building those bonds, man. Because it's a difficult time out there, man. And yeah, really good information, definitely. Michael, I'm been a fan of yours as well, man. I see how you go hard against those white supremacists and racists and stuff, man. I mean, I hope that it's sad that a lot of our people hasn't really gone against them so much. I think that's been actually a bit of a problem. People have gone along with um, people like Farage, Tice, Tommy Robinson and stuff. I think not enough people have really fought them. If they fought them years ago, I don't think we would have got to this kind of issue. So I do think that things need to be looked at in terms of tackling the far right because it's difficult. We hope that hopefully things settle down and don't necessarily get worse. We'll see how it goes this week. To be fair, because I heard there's going to be more marches, more riots in other parts of the country and London as well. But hopefully it doesn't happen. But I think, if our communities are strong and we work together, we can ride this storm.
The 20th century has given us so much to learn from, history. And I think we should really, find ways of really working on that. I'll land my plane there.
Thank you, Ade. I mean, just going back, sorry, ever say slightly, Cecile, I was really quite upset that you have basically become a hermit because of what's actually going on out, on the streets. Now, that's the one thing that I was going to emphasize, that, okay, be safe, stay safe, but don't allow these racists to win. Don't allow them to have you hiding in your attic, hiding in your basement, hiding away. No, we're giving you safety tips, or I've been asked to, impart some safety tips so that you don't have to actually do that. That's not what you're here to, and how you should be existing in 2024. But just going back to what Ade was just saying about engaging racists, that's how you shake the tree. That's how you take away the basis by which they are using to beat us with at the moment, like literally beat us with, by challenging them, by taking them up on things that they are saying, by actually pushing back. Then you'll find that you take their argument away. And one final thing I was going to say, I forgot to mention earlier. Look, I know that sometimes these riots can actually just occur sporadically. You might find yourself in the middle of a riot because you've just come out of Sainsbury's, you've just come out of Tesco's. We saw it happen over the weekend. Whatever you do, I know this is common sense, but it seems like sense isn't so common because it happened in 2011. People found themselves caught up in these riots and took a bottle of Lucozade and opened it and found themselves in jail. Please don't be that guy. Don't be that gal who finds themselves in the middle of a riot, and just because there's the opportunity for a freebie, you take it. No, keep yourself circumspect. Get yourself away from that riot as soon as you can, because first things first, self-preservation. The people around you rioting aren't their comrades in arms. They are there with hatred in their heart. So make sure you're away from them as quickly as you can. But the key and most important thing is this: you will find yourself in jail if you do find yourself taking things which do not belong to you. And the final thing I should say, not that I'm inviting this, but just remember this: you have a right to self defense. If you can defend yourself, I didn't do Taekwondo for 10 years. I didn't do Brazilian Jiu Jitsu for 5 years. I didn't do Muay Thai for 3 years not to defend myself. If you are able to, defend yourself, because there is no law against self defense. Reasonable force is what you should be using. Please, if you can't defend yourself and you find yourself in the middle of a melee, in the middle of a fracas, this is what I say to my sons when they're confronted, or if they're ever confronted with someone with a knife: just turn and run as fast as you can. There is no shame in saving your life. Turn and run. Thanks.
Okay. Wow. Thank you, Michael. Sometimes I actually ask myself, is it the same UK we actually live in or something different? But hey, some of the things that some of the videos I've seen, some of the pictures. In fact, one I saw yesterday at Middlesbrough was very, very disturbing. The fact that if you're not white, you can't drive past that place in 2024 in the same UK. Unbelievable. One of our guest speakers, Mr. Toy, I'm just going to give the mic to him to share his perspective on what's been going on for the past couple of days in the UK. And of course, someone who's also lived in the UK for many, many years. How do we protect ourselves? And are you surprised yourself? The mic is just Mr. Toy.
Thank you so much, Ulomo, Debbie. Thank you, Michael, former Councillor Jeremy, and all other previous speakers. Can you hear me clearly?
We can hear you, sir. We can hear you, sir.
Okay,
Go ahead,
thank
sir.
you. Thank you so much. I think Michael has covered quite a lot, and Councillor Jeremy. One of the very important things that Michael mentioned was that during the last phase that we had with David Atherton, I remember Michael clearly asking him, the David on this space is different from the David that he knows. He mentioned it for couple of seconds, I was like, this David I'm seeing in this space is different. And that goes to what he was saying as well earlier, like taking them on, tackling them with facts and letting them know that, look, you are just kind of like feeding people with like lies, basically. And one thing that I noticed, as Michael said as well, the day after that space, I don't think that space even ended more than an hour or two. He went back to what he normally do, like all those kind of tweets that rile um, people. We know all these accounts that kind of farm hate, Radio Genoa. We know all of those accounts on Twitter. And unfortunately, they have found a base and it will continue to happen. And as Michael said, you would know that something like this will eventually happen if you have followed all the things that have been happening in the timeline. I remember someone sent me a DM and said, why am I following these accounts? And the reason I'm following this account is that I want to understand their thought process. I want to know what they are thinking. I want to understand, because you have to kind of like balance the thoughts and say, okay, are these people actually legitimate in the way they are thinking? And you can find out that most of it is false. And mainstream media has a lot of blame to take in this case, because you have seen them giving a lot of airtime to people like Farage. Even Jacob Rees-Mogg, who used to be a conservative MP, towards the elections was saying they should do a deal with Reform Party, despite the fact that the rhetoric of the Reform Party has been seriously anti immigration and all of that. Jacob Rees-Mogg was saying, let us bring Farage in, let us do a deal with him, all because they just wanted to stay in power. And that is the British politics that the politicians have to take responsibility for what is happening on the street of Britain today. The big challenge here is that the British public have been lied to on several occasions, on several occasions. And I will urge them, like when we get into debate, when we get to speaking, we want to lay everything clear. The rhetoric that was behind Brexit, which Boris Johnson, Michael Gove, all those senior conservative people, even Farage, was telling them was that, come out of Brexit, your life will be better. Come out of Brexit, you will have jobs. Come out of Brexit, everything will be okay. Now people are out of Brexit and things have not gone well. Who takes the blame for that? They've gotten power. Power is gone now. The people that want jobs are not getting the jobs that they think they are going to want. The NHS that you said your UK is giving the EU so million every week, that million can go into the NHS. The NHS doesn't have those millions. So the British public have been lied to, and now everything is now bouncing back. And who is the easy target? The migrants. Who is the easy target? The people that have come here to stay. Okay, you said you wanted to leave the EU. Now you are out of the EU. But your same government came to Africa, went all over the world to tell people to come and study in the UK. They said they wanted 600,000 international students every year. That was in their education strategy report, because that was another way they could get money into the system. Thousands of students, millions of students paid 15,000 pounds to your universities. That is what is keeping your universities afloat. The same students are being attacked yesterday because a lot of students picked schools that were cheaper. And some of these schools are in Hull, Middlesbrough. They are in these places that they are experiencing attacks last night. The politicians, the UK politicians, have questions to answer if people die or if people get injured in these situations. They have tried to gain power at all costs, and they've been feeding the rhetoric, stop the boats. If you want to stop the boats, go and do a deal with France. There is nothing that is happening on the boats that you do not see. If you want to stop the boats, go and do a deal with France to stop the boats. You cannot take international students and start victimizing them. You cannot take care workers and start labeling them like they are the one taking the job. My cousin works as a care worker. She's in her 20s. And she's going around looking after elderly people. They are opening their bowels. She's cleaning it up. She's doing it on minimum wage. How do you victimize that kind of person? How do you tell that person you cannot go to work because you are rioting? So at the end of the day, we are in Britain. But the truth has to prevail. We have to open up and say, look, this is the truth. These are the lies. And whoever we want to dialogue, we'll say whatever we want to say. But please, everyone should just try and stay safe at this period. As Michael was saying, move in groups, don't put your headphones on and be watching your phone while walking. You don't know, because this kind of scenario, it brings out the hate in people. When just like when people drink alcohol and they go crazy and they start overestimating their powers, these are the kind of incidents that people that have been under their corner practicing their racism, they will come out in full force because they are being emboldened by what is going on. Move in groups. If you have like any barbecue that you've planned that you want to do it outside, do it low key. It's very, very important now because the police is very, very stretched. Before they get to where you are, things might have gone crazy. So we are here already. We are here studying. We are here working. We are here doing the best that we can. We are contributing to the British economy. So I don't get. And someone was saying earlier that they are only talking about the Muslims. They are not only talking about the Muslims. When they finish with the Muslims, they are coming to you. You get people saying, white Britain, white Britain. When they finish the Muslims, they are coming with you. And then which Muslims are we talking about? The Muslims that came here as refugees from war, or which Muslims are we talking about? Is it the Muslims that own Heathrow Airport, or the Muslims that own British Airways, or the Muslims that own Harrods we are talking about, or the Muslims that built the Shard, the Muslims that own Man City, the Muslims that own Sheffield United, the Muslims that own Newcastle United? Which Muslims are we talking about? The royal family are close friends with the kings of all these countries. So we have to, I don't even understand. There is so much misinformation going on, and it is just shocking that it is we at the bottom that we have to bear the consequence. All the MPs that got in on the back of anti-migration rhetoric, they are enjoying their lives now. So it's a very difficult situation. But the key thing is that there's a lot of falsehood going out there. We just have to try as much as possible and be safe. Let us be as safe as possible. That's the most important thing at the moment. This will die down. We'll keep observing. We'll see what will happen. But please, please, as Michael and other speakers have said, let us stay safe. Thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Toy. Michael, quickly, please. Michael, quickly, please.
It's just a question
Sorry,
for.
sorry, please. I just want
Wendy.
to say something. Olomo, I sent you a DM, please. It's
Yeah.
very, very important, please. Please,
Okay,
that's all
okay,
I want to say.
okay,
Thank
okay,
you,
okay.
please.
Thank you, Wendy. Yeah, Michael, go ahead quickly, Mr.
Oh,
Michael.
thanks. It was a question for Councillor Jermaine. Sorry, Councillor Jermaine. I think you can kind of gather by what I've said this evening that I'm a person of action, and the people in here should be people of action too. How can we amplify the call that really does need to go out to basically the leader of this country, the prime minister, to stop the mealy mouth skirting around the issue and the fact that he needs to call this a far right racist riot? The fact is, he spoke again around the houses about the fact that there are people who are instigating this online. We know who these people are. He knows who these people are. Why isn't he saying who they are? The David Athertons of this world, the Nigel Farages of this world, the Tommy Robinsons of this world, the Lawrence Foxes of this world. Why isn't he calling those people out? Or do we have to call them out? And if we call them out, how can we amplify this? Councillor Jermaine, I'm really interested in how we can actually amplify what needs to be done.
No, thank you, Michael, and that's actually a really, really great question. The first thing that I can encourage people to do is to write to Keir Starmer. You can do that, 10 Downing Street. You can actually write to him directly or write to your local MPs as well, and actually, or set up with that. You can write to them and you can actually ask, actually state how you do as a person of color, as a black person, how you feel, living in this country at this moment in time, and urge them. The more people that send letters, the more people can urge. Actually, we need to call this for what it is. It is far right extremism. It is domestic terrorism. That's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is you can set up petitions as well. So I believe you can do it via the Parliament website. So you can set up a petition where you can ask, where you can demand the government comes out with a more stronger stance um, against this issue, and calling out the likes of Farage, Lawrence, Fox, you name it. You know, about the Parliament website, as long as it gets 100,000 what you call it, gets 100,000 signatories, it will be debated in Parliament. Now, however, on that side, Parliament is currently in recess until early September, so it's off for another 3 weeks. But actually, that would be good timing to to get the 100,000 signatures. You can share that on your own social media on this group, spread the word. Absolutely. So that's one way. That's a couple of ways of doing it, Michael. And your other
Okay,
question was, Michael?
Michael, quickly, Michael.
Well, basically, sorry, it's just a quick follow up in that. Um, is it possible then, Councillor Jermaine, if people follow you, if you have a template that they can actually download and use? Because it's not rocket science what needs to be said, but it needs to be said in a very concise way. What we don't want is paragraphs. What we want is a paragraph. So, is it possible? I don't want to make work for you, but Councillor Jermaine, is it possible if you had a template that people, if they followed you, you can actually give to them?
It is possible, or what I can do, Michael, is if you can go into my inbox, email, and leave your email, I will send you the link to the Parliament website, and it basically instructs you. It's very simple instructions on how you can actually set up the petition. That'd be the way of doing it.
Okay,
I
that's
would
the
love.
petition. I'm thinking of the letter to
Oh, the letter,
MPs.
right. So the letter, you could just write it. Anyone can just write the letter. It can be via email nowadays. You don't have to do it as an ink. You can just send it as a very what you call it, as a very normal email.
And
Um,
that's what I'm driving at. Sorry to keep interrupting you, but just
no,
to get the concise words that the people in this space, there's what, 777 people in here. Let's just imagine that 777 people sent that same email. We'd have a groundswell of movement. And then they sent that template, that pro forma, to
Mhm.
their followers, to their relatives. Do you see where I'm going here?
Yeah, I can see,
That's how you have groundswell.
and that's how you definitely multiply it. So I mean, yeah, absolutely. If you give me a few days, give me your email. Because obviously I'm still trying to deal with the possible response to a riot down in Torquay. So I'm currently busy with that. But yeah, I'm more than happy to help if you can help me with this as well. And but if people want to write a letter by themselves, you just need to put in there, dear Prime Minister, or your local MP as well. Copy your local MP in that we're part of the Nigerians in the UK community. Explain a bit about what we do, and you can put in there actually you're not happy with the language that the language needs to be stronger, Prime Minister, in terms of calling out Nigel Farage and the far right terrorists that they are. So it has to be something along the lines of that, but it could be put in everyone's own words at the end of the day. Because what tends to happen is with MPs and letters, and I've seen it. I've done a bit of work for an MP in the past. Is you know every day they get letters from these templates that are all literally the same. Some MPs don't even respond to them. I can tell you that. But no, that's the best way to do it. All right.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Councillor Jermaine. Thank you for that. Okay, let's keep moving because the time itself. Let's give the mic to Sister Olua Remlekun. Good evening, ma. The mic is yours, ma.
Good evening, and thank you so much for the previous speakers. I mean, I didn't think we would be back here since. I mean, from the
The general election was on the 4th of July. General election. Yes.
yeah. Um, I'm sort of referring to the 2011 riots. I didn't think we would, have another one in, God knows this time. But as Michael and the rest of the previous speakers have said, this has been bubbling on, and it's so sad that, as we've heard, the Prime Minister hasn't really got the what's the word, the I don't want to say the balls to call it what it is, and also the fact that the police haven't really been equipped to really handle this situation as it should be handled. These people have been currently handled like they're just kids in a playground fighting. These are racists, far rights, fascists, and the riots and the rioters, all of them should be treated as enemies of the state and of the people. As Mr. Toyib have said, I think there obviously you can see that there is definitely a lack of education in most of these people. All you need to see across the timeline is have a listen to when they're being interviewed by reporters. You would see clearly that these people have they're not literate at all. And it's frustrating that as a government, I can't believe that the government haven't been able to intercept Tommy Robinson and the Tices of this world and the Nigel Farages, because obviously these people are being um, arranged somehow to really gather at these various points that they're gathering. I don't understand why the government haven't been strong enough in intercepting their communication lines. I mean, if it's someone else, they would easily do that. That's just that point. And to the gentleman earlier who witnessed that unfortunate incident, I think it's also important as a community to speak to our leaders, our church leaders, and also our mosque leaders to be mindful for their people. There really shouldn't be a reason why there should have been a physical service yesterday, considering what has been going on all week. And I think if you have the opportunity to speak to your managers, your leaders at work, if you're someone that work out in the field, if there's a way for you to work from home whilst all this is going on, that's another way to really protect yourself, apart from working in groups and just being vigilant when you go out. Speak to your leaders, speak to your managers. If you can do your task at home, work from home. If you're, at school, university, if you need to hand in dissertations and all of that, speak to your universities. They see what's going on. Ask them to make other provisions for you to be able to submit whatever it is you need to submit. And please, as Oluwamo have said, and the rest of the people, previous speakers, do not suffer in silence. You are here for a reason. If you experience any form of prejudice, bias, or racism, speak out, report it. Don't, never mind that, nothing may happen. You have your, crime reference number. That's enough. If we continue to stand up to these people, I mean, we don't want to drive them underground. It is sad, but if we continue to challenge them, definitely, we will win at the end of the day. There is no room for racism. There is no room for fascism. We're here for a reason. Some of us that have lived here for, donkey's years, we've seen loads of things, back and forth. I think we need to continue to be strong. The louder the voices, the better and the more difference we can make. We shouldn't definitely not be shied away. We shouldn't let these people drive us aground. Definitely. That's my point. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Your point, like, you know what? There's something you said that we shouldn't shy away because I believe everyone is in different cities, and one of the advice I want to give for these safety tips is even if you are not in any WhatsApp group, Telegram group, or any group in your city, please look for it now. This is the best time to join any group that you have in the cities because these WhatsApp messages and all of that, they go very fast. So please, this is the time to, even if you don't want to talk in the group, just join the group so that you'll be getting information and seeing how you can report things. Thank you so much. Hello, Retweets. I didn't get a real name to call you, so I'm going to call you Retweets. Hello, Retweets.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Thank you everyone for getting this space set up. Along of Debbie, thank you for the good work you do. I think these are really unfortunate times, and these are really shameful times, because we should not be in this situation where um, people are being treated with disrespect, people are being treated with spite, on the basis of their color. I've always said that um, I have never desired any color than my black color. I'm proudly black. I'm Nigerian, proudly Nigerian. I was born Nigerian. I'll always be Nigerian. And to think that I would personally have to be a target of these incendiary and very, very abhorrible action, as recently as yesterday was the peak of it. I'm usually I keep facial hair, but because of the events of yesterday, I've had to shave this morning. That's how life changing this has been for some of us, and thankfully, its facial hair will grow back. But the impact of the the action I had to take and the information I'm giving to my children is really life changing. It was after I had to shave my facial hair that I really looked back and said, "Are you not? Are you not being a victim here? Are you not receding? Should you really be receding? Should you really be stepping back?" And that's the question that we all need to answer. Should we let bacteria thrive? This bacteria of racism, of homophobia, of Islamophobia thrive? Should we let it continue by seeming to pull back? The answer is no. And I really looked at the hair when I shaved my beard, and I wish I could put it back, but that had been shaved already. We need to um, really speak up against this whole thing. No one should think that because it has not gotten to your city, it will not get to your city. It will, ultimately, one way or the other. We all see what we're experiencing in offices. We all see what we're experiencing in our respective careers. Fortunately, some people have had to be negatively impacted by the action of some, people in authority, people in co-workers who don't think you should be where you are. And let me remind us with a bit of perspective. Over 700,000 Africans from the Commonwealth colonies fought in the British wars and gave their life for this country. So no one should treat you like a second fiddle. No one. And I repeat that, no one should do that. And in terms of what is happening, and people are saying it's just going to affect Muslims. If you think this is a Muslim issue, if you think that this is just targeting Muslims, you're mistaken. I'm not Muslim, but I am in pain to see what's happening, against my Muslim brothers. It's a shame, an absolute shame, in a first world country. So we need to stay safe. We need to come together as a group. I've heard about discussions about information. I do not know if every city that's associated with the NIUK has a WhatsApp um, group. I would wish that there was an arrangement like that where every city has a representative who has a known NIUK WhatsApp group that every person is a part of. I wish that could be taken on board so that we can pass information to each and every one, and get that sorted out. And in terms of where you work, please, by all means, join unions. They may not be perfect, but they're a buffer. At least someone will speak on your behalf. Someone will make some noise. Like they say, bacteria will die in the presence of light. When these things that are going on have some light shone on them, they die, or at least they recede. And as much as possible, please stay safe. It is the city centers where much of these issues start. Please avoid the city centers if you do not have a valid reason to be there. And if you're coming back from work and you're going to pass through places that are a bit unfamiliar, places that are sometimes, that are, dangerous areas, as much as possible, please see if you can be in groups, or at least you can call someone to pick you up. If you're driving, it's easier than if you're walking. So we can support each other. You can pick a friend up from work if you know that where they work is dangerous. You can reach out to someone to know how they're doing as much as possible. So thank you very much for putting this space
Thank
together, and I hope that we will really bond, especially at this times.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much for your submission. Like 100%, 100%. I was just gonna say that one of the greatest challenge we have right now is many people are gonna struggle with going to work and coming back from work. And then we know the bills are always gonna run. So you're not gonna say because of the fight, you won't step out, you won't go and hustle. But another thing I think everyone should try to do, depends on where you work, the nature of work. If you work in an organization that you can work hybrid, have a chat with your line manager. I mean, a trial wouldn't kill. If it's Jack, hello Jack, can I have a chat with you? Have a one-to-one session and say, please, you are very much aware of what's going on right now about immigrants. Can I work from home? Propose it. I mean, and send a mail. So let's know that okay, you tried and they did not answer you, because you have to protect yourself first. And I believe they are very reasonable people. There are very reasonable people, not they. There are very reasonable people among everyone. Maybe you would find your boss. And if you have the one that you have to go on shift, maybe you have like some of your friends that drive and you work in the same place. You tell your boss, okay, can I, swap my shifts around so that myself and this person can, drive together because of what is going on. You don't want to take the bus because of this and this. Try to engage your line managers. Thank you. So I'm going to give Mamuzo the mic. Then after Mamuzo, we're going to have Ebu Ama. Hello, Mamuzo.
Hi, Fama. Good evening. Good evening, everybody.
Good
Um,
evening.
yeah. So I just want to appeal to us, Nigerians and blacks alike, to not go along with their rhetorics of us being a problem. I mean, we have seen a few people posting in support to this, saying that we're not integrating, or a group of black teenagers are smoking marijuana, and then every black person is a smoker of marijuana, or every black person is committing crime. Just like agreeing to their rubbish rhetorics that these racist hoodlums are actually perpetuating. We saw the case of that Irish guy who posted a video and labeled that family as asylum seekers and them being a problem, whereas the man could probably be a doctor, and we saw Nigerians actually supporting it. So it's why I've been on the timeline always speaking against such. Whether you are here, you are on the pathway to ILRO, or you have your papers, does not now automatically mean that you are better than the people who are coming, or you are better than somebody who is seeking asylum. These people, they don't care whether you have papers or not. We've seen them. I follow those pages. I know what's up. I see what they are doing and what they're actually saying. We saw the video from Middlesbrough. They were asking, is the person in the car white? They didn't say, is this person on asylum? Is this person? They just said, is this person white? If it was not white, they wouldn't even know if the person was born in the UK or not. So we have to actually talk against them. When they post such rubbish, you have to talk against them. There are a lot of these pages online now. Since Elon Musk bought the app and he reinstated them back, we have been seeing a whole lot of this. And the truth of the matter is not, the riots will calm down. The riots will calm down over time, but it's not going to end. It's just going to calm down, but the problem is still going to be there. And what we have to do is to not support parties that are anti-immigrant, that are openly anti-immigrant. This was one of the reasons why I supported the Labour Party then, and why I was very happy that Madame Le Pen lost in France. You see those far right parties, those supposedly conservative parties that are already blaming immigrants, blaming all the problems happening in Europe, all the economic issues on people coming into the country legally and all of that. It is going to, in 2029, when another election comes up, reform is going to be a lot bigger than they are now. Conservatives will try as much as possible. I saw Liz Truss make a statement today that Conservative Party have to be much more bolder, much more direct. She may be saying it in one way, but what she means basically is that they have to take an anti-immigrant stance because they're trying to cut Niger Farage. We should pay attention to all of these things and be very smart in our dealings. The Labour Party, yeah, we have from history, we have seen how they have actually been helpful to immigrants, and I was very happy about what um, what the Prime Minister what he said when he made his declaration about this whole protest. He called it what it is, far right protest, and he ensured that he said people from Muslim communities are going to be protected. He didn't shy away into calling it what it is. It is people. It is things like that we have to actually show our support to. We should not just relax and assume that oh we are fine because we are here legally or not. I mean, we have seen it before. I've read a lot about the World War II history, the Nazis, and how the Jews were living very fine in Germany. They were buying from these Germans. They were living normally. But when Hitler came into power, made that declaration, the Germans were the ones actually pointing to the SS, like, okay, this person is a Jew, this person is a Jew, this person is a Jew. And we have seen it. We saw it in Middlesbrough. I lived in Middlesbrough for 2 years. Those people there, I'm very sure if I actually look at those videos, I may probably recognize one or two people. We go to the stadium together to watch football. They give me fist bumps. But it's a shame that things like this happen, and these same people we go to the pub together. We share drinks and watch football together. Could actually come back and do all of that. So we should not just relax and think, okay, when the riot is over now, everything is fine. 2029 is going to be another one. We're going to see more of this, and from now to that time, we're going to keep seeing agitation. We have to be very strategic in our dealings politically. We have to actually support a party that is going to protect our interest. We should not which one person, two people should not be coming out to say, oh, reform parties, they are going to do this. We are so worried about LGBTQ, whereas we have a bigger problem, so worried about trans when there are much bigger problem. So okay, these people they are supporting this when there are a lot more bigger problem. So just my appeal: when we see people, Nigerians supporting this rhetoric, we have to talk them down. When we see these hoodlums and these racists, these people like the Irish guy and Radio Genoa and Tommy Robinson and Elon Musk himself talking about this rubbish, then we have to actually shut it down. We must not let that narrative thrive. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Turn left on Resting Road.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mamuzo, for your submission. Yes. Another thing that I need to add to what Retweet said, please, we have some WhatsApp group already. Maybe the admins, can people please share the links on the TL so people can see it? And for groups that don't have an NIUK WhatsApp group, please ask your colleague at work, ask your friend, ask them if there is a WhatsApp group for your community. Thank you. So I'm going to hand the mic over to Ebu Ama, then Bam Bam. Before then, Michael and Councillor, is there anything you want to say? Toy, is there anything you want to say following all the submission we've received?
Turn left onto Old Bridge Road.
No, I'm good. So
Okay.
something quite disturbing is happening on the timeline in that I'm not sure if you've seen the latest footage, but it's now getting quite ugly in Birmingham, and it just shows you what I was talking about. Stay
Mm-hmm.
away from the fracas, stay away from the groups, because now it's the tables have actually turned in terms of the narrative. It looks as though the Muslim demonstrators are now being blamed for what's actually unfolding across the UK because the narrative is now being twisted. So you can quite quickly become part of a narrative which you hadn't intended to become involved in because you stood and you became a bystander. You became somebody who was involved because you were there. No, keep out of it.
Thank you, Michael. All right, so Ebu Ama, over to you, please.
Good evening, everybody.
One of the things I wanted to talk about was the spreading of misinformation at this time. There's been loads of information flying around, and I think as Nigerians, it's quite easy to forward a message on WhatsApp without finding out if it's verified or if it's from a credible source. People just take screenshots of people's status messages and forward them, and this has created a lot of panic and fear amongst a lot of people. I live down south, and unfortunately, I've heard stories of people being attacked. Everyone keeps saying, "Oh, I know who was attacked. I know who this happened to." But then I work in the hospital. I actually had to call in today to actually find out because I was told, "Oh, they were admitted," and probably from what they had explained, it's going to be my unit where these people are going to come into. But none of this has happened. And for me to take these steps is because I always want to verify the information I get. It's okay to share messages, but can we not scaremonger people into isolating themselves? It's already an isolated community. Most people don't have the community feeling they had back home. It's a lot of people are isolated here in the UK. And this fear mongering is only going to get worse if people keep sending unverified messages. If you receive a message from something in your area and you're not sure, please put a disclaimer. This is what I heard, and it wasn't a first person information. It was passed on from this. I saw this in a group. Take notes. This is happening. At least a little, type a little more message at the bottom to say, okay, this is what I heard from this. If you put a message at the bottom to say where this information has come from, it was going to help a long way in making people understand what is going on, how it is going on, and where it is going on. The other thing I was going to talk about is about this information as well going on that Nigerians are planning to rally around and protect themselves. I'm just going to say this here categorically. The moment you have a criminal record in this country, your life changes. It is very important for everybody on this space to remember that in all their dealings, if for any reason you're arrested and prosecuted successfully, your life is going to change and you go to prison. Your life automatically changes from that day. I'm not going to go into any further details, but I'm just going to leave these 2 points because there's been a whole lot of unrest. I myself have become very anxious, which is something I've never been, but I've become very anxious watching the news today. And then from all the information I've received from my group of people who work in my hospital, it's been very chaotic all day. And I'm just going to advise everybody to please put a disclaimer at the bottom of say where your message has come from. It's going to help a whole lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that submission. Bam Bam, over to you, please. And please, because we have lots of requests, if you finish speaking, you can just drop, or I may have to drop you. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Yeah, Bam Bam. Um, I'll start with, I don't know. Most of these informations, just like the last speaker said, had been from either one WhatsApp group to one page or the other. I know all this happening is like a push of narratives by some set of people. I don't know who, I don't know, but then because I don't understand the basis behind people under the age of 18 going around throwing stones, breaking door, breaking windows, breaking glasses, and the likes. Come to think of it, these are buildings owned by their family members, their property owned and bought by their family members. In fact, some of them are still paying for it. And a kid from nowhere goes around spoiling the properties. I feel this is more of hidden agenda than somebody fighting immigrants and the likes, shouting, they are taking our jobs, they are taking our money, jobs you won't even go out to do, things
Most of them won't even do 7 to 11 jobs. You won't start job until start your work until 9 o'clock, and on or before 2 2:30 you are out. So what jobs are you crying around about? So because of that, breaking doors and breaking windows, I think it's more of orientations to me. Many of these people are not well oriented. Because for me, the part of UK I am, I don't know if it will get here tomorrow or next, but nothing is happening here yet. It's as peaceful as anything. And it has to do with orientation of the community. So for the places these things are happening, what kind of orientations, what kind of family training backgrounds these people are coming out from? You see 17 years, 16 years, 15 years old boys carrying stone, breaking glasses. You're spoiling your family members' property. You are not only spoiling your family member property. These are properties insured by your own people. So whether you like it or not, you're creating debts for them. So I don't think many of them are aware of this, which are the narratives I think people should start pushing out there for them to see. Maybe when one or two of them that owns property are seeing this, these are properties rented out for immigrants. So you think you're dealing with the immigrants, but then you're dealing with your own family members, spoiling their property in the name of you going against the immigrants. I really don't see any sense in it. I just want somebody to make it make sense to me. And then I don't know. I know for some of us Nigerians, we don't like using our accounts to push some narrative or, agendas. But then I think it won't be bad if one or two people are posting things against some of these their agendas, positive things actually, against their narrative. Because either you're from here or you are not, at the minute you are in their country, you are in the country with them. So it's your own residential area. Wherever you stand should be as peaceful as you want it to be. And if you want that, you need to impart, you need to participate in whatever they are doing. So if
Absolutely.
it takes you to at least post something positively to counter their narratives to them, if you have to, don't be
Okay.
silent because you are not affected directly.
Absolutely.
Then
Okay.
another thing is,
Yeah. Mr. Bamba,
yeah,
thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Bamba. Thank you for your submission. I have to go now. I have to
all
go
right.
pick up here. Thank you very much. Thank you for what you said. Okay, Bella, anything happened to you recently where you're based? Quickly, please. The mic is yours, Bella. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. So, the thing is, I've been saying everything happening online, and I didn't really think it was going to happen where I am because this place is literally very, very peaceful. And then yesterday, I was at the bus stop, and this lady with her boyfriend or so, they were just walking past me, and then the lady just kept giving me the fuck you finger. I'd not seen what she's doing and just ignored what she was doing. She continued doing the same thing. And then I was wondering, you can't really be talking to me because I don't even know you from anywhere. And then she walked past me. Then she came back again. And then she was like, you fool, you blackie, what are you doing here? And I was like, are you talking to me? And she said, yes, I'm talking to you, blackie. So I kind of my head wrapped around the whole situation, put things together, okay, this is what is actually going on right now. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, but do not get close to me. And then she was like, what are you going to do? I told her, do not get close to me. So I was still sitting down. She tried moving close to me again. And I stood up from my seat. I told her, do not move close to me. You won't like it. And then she was like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? When she saw that I was getting angry, I stood up and I was like, if this girl should touch me, I would beat somebody. So she saw how angry I was. Then she spat at me and I spat at her back. And I told her, if you get close to me, I will beat you. And it was close to a barber shop, and all the guys they were outside. They were just laughing at the whole situation. And her boyfriend was standing with her. When she did that stuff, the thing pissed me off and I almost beat her. God, it took everything in me not to beat that girl yesterday because she's too small. When the boyfriend saw that I was getting really angry, the boyfriend dragged that away. And the whole thing was just like a film trick. I'm like, what's going on? And I was thinking this place is safe, saying like, oh yeah, Norwich is safe, so this is not going to happen here. What I would just say is that people should be vigilant wherever they are, and don't be like, oh, it can't happen to me, or it can't happen to, or it cannot happen where I am. That was what I was thinking until that happened to me yesterday. And I was like, okay, this is new. Until now, I'm still surprised about the whole situation. And I'm trying to wrap my head around it because left to me, if I had touched that girl yesterday, I doubt she would survive. But I just let it go because if I touch her, they'll be like, oh, it's you that touched her and you've killed somebody. But then at the same time, I just had to let it go.
Okay, all right, Bella. I'm really sorry about what happened to you yesterday. The possible marriage. Just a quick question: did you report it to the police at all? Did you report to the police at all?
No, I did not because I was working at that time. I was with the person I was supporting.
Okay, I think the next time what you could do is that we could just ring 101 as well, or maybe even go to the police station afterwards, maybe after work. I think something mistake we do as black people is that some of this thing we overlook it. So maybe even after work, you could have just gone down to the local police station and reported the crime because that's a crime itself that's happened to you. I'm just going to speak to a councillor and one or two people to find out what about if councillor Jermaine, what about if she reacted? What would that be the situation like if let's say she reacted? Because how long are we going to keep on sitting on the fence? Because there's a limit to everything. Can people? I mean, it's passing out somebody call them black and then just expect to keep their cool. I mean, she might have been calm, but somebody else would have reacted and triggered. I mean, what would you ask them to do with that kind of situation, sir?
The best thing to do in that situation is not to react, because then if you do report it to the police and you retaliate, and let's just say, for example, that Bella gave her a far more worse injury than just spitting, which is what the woman did to Bella. And by the way, that's assault. No two ways about that. It's assault, and it's also a hate crime that she's done to Bella. You do need to report it. What I'm also saying is, if Bella retaliated to that, and the woman came off with a far more worse injury, then the tables would in the prosecution system, the tables would probably turn, and it'd be more likely that Bella would probably get the more harsher punishments.
Okay, okay. Ufama, we're gonna say something quickly. Ufama.
Yeah, I was going to add, Bella, I think if you've not done it, please, can you send an extensive report to work? You just mentioned that you were on a course of duty when this happened. And please be not to use the strongest, like the real words on everything that happened, because you may think nobody saw it. You were with a resident. You have to report it, please. Even if your line manager acts like, oh, so sorry about it, it's fine, it's not fine, it's not fine. Please send an extensive report to your office. Just send the mail so that on the day of reckoning it will be there for you. Thank you. And Michael, please, over to you.
Just a quick one. In the coming days, we're going to see more and more of these, I expect. What I would advise is to be a bit quicker on the trigger finger in terms of getting your phone out and recording and making sure you have evidence. Because what you don't want to do is to be in a situation where either the tables have turned and you're looking as though you're the aggressor. But the key and most important thing is you've actually walked away. You don't have a face. You don't have any recollection of the incident. Only in your mind. You don't actually have anything recorded. So I would definitely start getting a bit smarter with our smartphones.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Michael. Thank you for that, Dan Bella. I really hope you please stay safe in Norwich and just to say that just be more careful of your surroundings as well, because I don't know. It seems to be like some of these rights just seem to give some people some boldness because a lot of things that I've never seen before. I remember the 2011 riots that happened in London, Birmingham, Manchester, when a gentleman called Madigan was killed by the police. I mean, it seems like it even happened yesterday. I mean, that was about 13 years ago. Unbelievable. Sister Buki, I know you've been here, born and bred, almost born and bred in the UK, many donkey years. What is the way forward? I think as much as solutions, okay, we need to start finding solutions. How do people protect themselves? Should we sit down on the fence, just get ready for this violent abuse when we're walking down the road? But I mean, in 2024, we cannot allow this to happen. What's the solution? What's the way forward? I mean, on this basis, so probably if I was going to ask anyone this question, probably you're probably one of the best people I can access to give us a solution. I mean, you've been here for many years. It's happened. Since it's got better, and then suddenly it's like we're going backwards all over again. I mean, for me, I'm just trying to round my head around it. What exactly is the problem? Some of these far right people, and the funny part is that Michael is when we hosted David Atkinson a couple of weeks ago. Tom Robinson reached out to me. We actually have a very good conversation on WhatsApp. I probably shouldn't be saying this that he's on my WhatsApp. I've not blocked him yet on WhatsApp. I've not blocked him yet. But I mean, for me, I like to be civil with people, and for me, it was just like maybe you could change someone's mindsets because I remember someone asked me what's the purpose of the whole bringing diversity into the space. I mean, what exactly have we achieved? So for me, he's always been just like Mr. Twibo was saying, I was following a particular handle. Okay, let's see from their own point of view. It's always been that open dialogue. As much as I disagree with him, doesn't mean no one knows better. So I mean, we had actually a good civil conversation with DM, and it's oh, you're very different, blah blah and stuff. Send me his number. We chatted, had a back and forth on WhatsApp, and but to be honest, he's just come back again to being disappointed. I mean, some of the rhetorics of Dave. To be honest, I can't really say some of his own space really got it. And I was really hoping for a new beginning whereby he can say from our point of view that, listen, love migrants here. We also a plus for the British economy. We've made life a lot better. So many things we've come in to do, but it seems like there's something just there that's just not right. But hey, we just leave it there. Michael, you're going to say something quickly, Michael? Yeah. If I give the mic to Bookie. Yeah, Michael, quickly, please. Yeah. Michael, go ahead, Michael. Uh, maybe Michael can. Okay, Stabuki. The mic is yours, Buki.
Yeah,
Go ahead, please.
I think, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear
Oh
you.
yeah, I
Go ahead,
think
please. Yeah.
Twitter is glitching. I had to go out and come back a few times. Um, hmm. I don't even know where to start. I mean, I've been listening to some of the information that's been shared, some of the advice, really great advice that's been provided. Listening to Councillor Jeremy and, of course, my dear Michael speaking up about some of the issues that's currently going on. Actually, I wasn't online for like 2 days. And then when Oluomo reached out to me about what was going on, I honestly just didn't want to um, turn on my phone because I really just didn't want to believe it was happening yet again. Now, where do I start? Before I come to proposed solutions, which I think some speakers have actually spoken about, um, the first context we need to understand, if you will allow me, because I came in slightly late and I'm not sure if this has been shared, because I feel like majority of us that are in this space probably, I've come to the United Kingdom for whatever reasons. And oftentimes we don't study about the place that we're going to. Now, the issues surrounding immigration and racist riots in the UK is quite complex, right? And it's multifaceted in the fact that it involves like social, economic, and political dimensions, right? Which I'm sure Michael and Councillor Jeremy probably has shed a light on. Now, I think it's very important because I watched the Twitter. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
You can continue, Bookie.
All right, sorry. um, I think I saw something on Instagram, and there was a young lady. I think she's of Caribbean descent, and if I can find the link to it, you guys go and listen to what she's got to say. And she made some really strong points, and it's very important that us that are in this country as diasporans, we need to understand the environmental context and where we are, where we're building, right? The UK itself has had a long history of immigration issues. And we recognize that the UK have like Commonwealth countries all over the world, relating to what that young lady was sharing, right? And over the decades, right, immigration policies have evolved, because at the beginning it was like, yeah, bring all of them over to the UK to come and help rebuild, the UK, especially after World War II, because there was literally nothing. There was no one to do all of their work. And now, come in the past 5 years, or even a decade or so, they started to invite more people to come to the UK, because why? They need people. It's the UK is a growing population of filled with elderly people, right? And therefore we have all these, supporters from different parts of the world coming over to the UK. Why? Because majority of the majority of the people that are in this country don't want to do those kind of work, right? So when they say stuff like, they taking our jobs and say that just doesn't correlate with me, right? So when we think about historical events that's happened, like let's talk about the Windrush generation in 1940s, right? They brought a lot of immigrants were invited to come over, to come and support in building. And then what's happened in the past decade or so, they were trying to say, everyone should literally just go back to, it's really, really ridiculous, right? So it's really important we understand where we are. And of course, there's this political discourse around immigration that's often polarized, in the sense that, political parties use this as an opportunity to make their policies a lot stronger, right? There is that they use anti-immigration rhetoric to gain support. They frame immigration as a threat to jobs, public services, and national identity, which I think is the major issue. Now, let's not talk about let's talk a bit about Brexit, right? There is remnants of Brexit that we are seeing in this riots, right? I feel I'm not going to, I can't even speak up for them, but I think there has not been any conversation post Brexit as to what is happening with the country. What happens to the viewpoints of those that didn't, that wanted Brexit? What happened to those people? And I feel like the remnants of it is what we are seeing, and we that are, the Black, Caribbean, the Asians, we are at the brunt of all these political issues that's not been resolved, right? And then when they start talking about stuff like, oh, we're taking their jobs, we're taking their resources. Come on, all of us have been facing economical, hardships in this country. There's been so many issues that's been going on, but we are all riding over it. But they don't see that. Someone mentioned earlier on about, where these riots are happening. And I think if we were to do a research and actually do a deep dive, we will understand that their level of understanding is what they've been taught by their parents, not necessarily what they've learnt. I'm sure majority of them probably haven't picked up a book to understand the types of people that are coming into the country. I was listening to when you was speaking about, inviting students to come to this country with the amount of money that we pay. I don't think many of them actually understand that a majority of us come into this space to improve their economy. I don't think that is being shared. The rhetoric that's been shared within their small little groups is that the Blacks are coming, the Asians are coming, the Browns are coming, and they're coming to take their jobs. So we need to stop that. I don't know how we're going to do it with regards to education. I think we just need to share more positive information online about all the things that we're doing, just like when we did that space. And we were educating this man about who we were, who we are, what we're planning to do, and so forth. I feel like we have to continue with that conversation. I don't want to talk for too long, but in all, I really want all of us to be safe, especially with our children. I just want to touch on children, because the first thing that happened to me when I thought about what was going on was, what information am I going to share with my children? How am I going to protect my children? How am I going to get them to stay informed, right? What plans do I have ready for them, not just as a community, but for them, in terms of them to be aware of going, yes, I live in an area where probably won't have, because I saw a map of, not a map, like a list of the home countries that they are attacking, but what's to say that this will not be widespread? So firstly, I am educating my children as to what is going on, because sometimes, the news is propaganda. So really educating them as to why this is happening, what I think why it's happening, how to take precautions, the kind of conversations they should be having with their friends, also for them to be aware of their surroundings, and most importantly for them to know their rights. I think Oluoma has mentioned it so many times. A lot of us in this country, we actually do not know our rights. And I have to commend the young lady that just spoke about the situation that happened to her, because that could have escalated really, really quickly and it would not have paid her. But it's very, very, very important that we all start to understand the country that we're in, the community that we're in, the laws that we're meant to be following, and also be part of this conversation that we're having right now in the communities. I love that we've got WhatsApp groups that we're all joining. I think that's a great step forward, and we have to continuously educate each other. So raising awareness, which is what we're doing right now. And of course, if you're in an area where you feel that there's unrest or anything, please don't keep quiet, like Ufuma mentioned. Talk about it. If you feel scared about something, please don't try and be like, I'm a man, I'm strong, or I don't want to appear like I'm scared. Please speak up about it. And most importantly, mental health is very, very important, right? So if at any point you're feeling like you're out of your depth, please reach out for self-care. And I think I'm going to stop there, because I can go on and go on, because this is really, really, really upsetting. But yeah, thank you all so much for allowing me to speak.
Thank you so much, Buki, for all the points noted. Always glad of you. But I think for me, the most important thing, like you said, is raising an awareness. Okay, talking about how maybe because you don't know what's happening to you, or maybe because it's not happening in your area, it's happening. You've heard the gentleman, Mr. Sese from Middlesbrough, who told exactly what happened to him just yesterday. And you also had what happened to Bella just yesterday. These are not just maybe hearing, these are from people that happen to directly self. And guess what? I think it's happened about 16 different cities so far, Bookie. It kicked off in Sunderland. It also happened, I think it was on Friday last week, it happened in Sunderland. Then, even on Sunderland, whereby there was a boss. They basically go on the bus and, you know, beating the black people in that bus. I mean, so, listen, I'm still trying to get my head because it's just driving me nuts. The audacity of it in the UK in 2024. Then afterwards happened in Blackburn. Blackburn's a very Asian, obviously it's a white city, but obviously there's quite a lot of Asians in Blackburn as well. Then on Saturday, it happened in Belfast, Bristol, Manchester, Hull, even Liverpool. Liverpool was the worst ones, and one of the worst in Liverpool. But there's a Muslim guy was driving, and they stopped the vehicle, just jumped on it, pulled him out, and everything happened in Leicester, Stoke-on-Trent, Nottingham, Blackpool, even Portsmouth happened in Portsmouth. Then yesterday in Rotherham, we saw what happened in Rotherham, where the I think the asylum seekers Holiday Inn hotel was bombed. Rushed in and Rotherham, and everything happened. In Middlesbrough, it happened about. I mean, we have what Citizen said itself. The videos we saw. If you're not white, they will not allow you to drive past and you'll be attacked. Up and hold the shots. Bolton. So this has now become a total nationwide anarchy. There's nothing more than that. It's been a total nationwide anarchy. And for me, I'm not too sure the government is doing enough. Yes, the prime minister spoke on. I think we had two brokers so far from the prime minister. But personally, I just feel like the Labour government needs to do better, in my opinion. I mean, the only good news that so far for me has to be, you can say, the court. I mean, quite a few people have been arrested. The courts are going to be open 24/7. And then going back as well, when you come up on the 4th of July, before the 4th of July, for the general elections, even with Councillor Jermaine as well, I think the Labour Party councillor, Inuka Noha, of the Labour Party in Derby as well, we had a few, debates before the election itself. A lot of rhetoric from the politician was all about migration. Stop the boat, do this, and it's just like, it was just a sort of a triggering stuff. When you look at some of the, for me, when you look at after the 4th of July, you look at the votes, the polls, who voted what. For me, when I looked at everything, the worst part for me, the scariest part was 60% of votes came from, for the Reform Party. 60% of the vote for Reform Party came from under 30s white British people. I mean, that was for me. You know, we've talked about how Niger Farah Party is very racist. It's basically it's just there in our faces. You know, it's just there. Another was open in the likes of Clanton on Sea, whereby certain Reform Party are very involved. We saw what happened. Whereby even I think was the guy was representing Clanton on Sea for Reform Party called Rishi Sunak, then the Prime Minister, then call him, F word, Paki word, and all these things. Rhetoric was going on. And for you to see a lot of 60%, a lot of under 30s white British people still voting for Reform Party, clearly tells us that we have a big problem in our hands. Racism is not going anywhere. Maybe you like it or not. Racism is here to stay. But how do we, trying to work around it? And the good news is we also have the laws. The laws in the UK say that you cannot be racially abused and stuff. People have been sent to prison for racial abuse and stuff in the past in this part of the world. But what's happened for the past few days for me is making me sleepless. There's a lot of messages from some of our people who are so scared to go to work. I've just said to people, listen, just cancel your shift and stuff. But how long are people going to cancel the shifts for when we know how this country works? Bills have to be paid. You can't be missing your diary, debit payments, all this kind of stuff. So people are under pressure left and right, but we have to find the right balance. I'm just going to ask Mr. Toyib a quick question, Mr. Toyib. As a black person in the UK and Muslim as well yourself, how are you feeling at present? Do you feel safe at all yourself, Mr. Toyib?
Well, that is a double whammy, isn't it? Um, the recent events is enough to make you kind of look out for yourself. To be honest, the like things are going on now about what's happening in Birmingham. We don't know what is going to happen, and it just goes to what we've been saying all day, that let us just look out for ourselves, move in groups, communicate, just just do the best you can until we can see that things are hopefully back to good in the next few days. But I think things are boiling up very fast. um you know like it is just the way we don't react to things the same way. And some people will kind of calm down about it. If you attack a mosque, there are young people in those mosques as well. They can go around and say, no, we are not going to take this. We have our temperaments are very, very different. So you could see things happening, scaling on both sides. And I don't know, nobody knows what is going to happen in the next few days. Nobody know. And when you have a mob of people doing so many people just coming out, like the police will be overwhelmed, like even with technology and all of that. And that's why we have to do our best in our own way to just try and look out for each other. I don't know how this will end up, but it has been something that has been playing out a very, very long time. And we do not, and people talk about, when we say these things, maybe we do not understand the legitimate concerns of our hosts, the British people. We understand the issues of job. If there is crime committed, like if any of us here, and it goes to what we always tell each other, we hold space in ourselves here where we tell ourselves that we are ambassadors of where we come from and all of that. And we are always the first to call out anyone that does anything in our communities. If anyone has committed anything from any community, from any background, of any faith, we expect the law to deal with that. And we know that there are good people in every community and there are bad people in every community as well. But what we now have is a rhetoric of saying we don't want these people. We don't, when you say you don't want Muslims, as I said before, which Muslims are you talking about? The Muslims that came from war zones, or the Muslims that are investing billions of pounds in the British economy? The Muslims that own Sainsbury's. Sainsbury's provide how many jobs? Newcastle United provides how many jobs? Manchester City provide. We are all jumping here when Man City won the Champions League. People that were supporters, people that were local to Manchester. So when you say you don't want Muslims, which Muslims are you talking about? So we have to be clear. You say, you don't want Muslim culture, but Muslims are bringing money. We have to be okay. If you say you don't want some particular kind of criminals in some communities, that is right. Let the law deal with that. But if you are now pointing finger and say, I don't, and it will get to a stage where you say, Some people are already saying white Britain. That means we are moving away from Muslims now. We are moving to every other person that is of a different color. So where do we go from here? Like, and the politicians, they need to take responsibility. The BBCs, the ITVs, we saw what happened today with that Muslim MP, and everybody was just on her. They couldn't let her even like land her points. When you see things like that and you start thinking, okay, what is going on here? And like I said before, the British people, the politicians have not told them the truth about what they do outside the UK to make the UK what the UK is. When you tell, we saw what's happening with British universities lately. And because international students are not coming, British universities are collapsing. And this is because international students pay crazy amount of money to come to school here in the UK. But they are the first people the politicians attack. When there is anything to it is the students that brought their dependents, it is the carers that are coming, but the carers are working on minimum wage, you know, going to several houses, doing several shifts, back and forth, like running, like you just want to know what else do you want the immigrant community to do? But having said that, as a Muslim, as a black person, you just have to observe, see what's going on. And it is very important for our people that are in cities, that like London. London is, you can say London is not like some places where you could really see yourself and say, okay, I'm the only person living in this area. It's very different in London. So um, it's just for our people to look out for themselves as much as possible, communicate as much as possible, reach out to people. If you don't see some people in a day or two, people you normally see, reach out to them, check on them. This is very, very important. We hold ourselves together at this very, very difficult time. Very, very difficult time. Thank you, Oloma.
Okay. Thank you, Toy. Thank you for that. In fact, I was reading a news today that some Muslim gravestones within a cemetery in Bonn itself, have been vandalized. Not just being vandalized, but guess what? They now pour white paint on them. I mean, how low can you really go? Where's the humanity in you? I mean, I don't understand. You're pouring and you're vandalizing in someone's grave because of Muslims' graves, and they're not pouring white paint on them. I mean, you must be a horrible, horrible human being. This is not even about what race. I mean, this is someone who's dead, for crying out loud. Unbelievable. Mr. Victor, good evening, sir. The mic is yours, sir.
I'm so sorry, Victor. I'm so
Okay,
sorry.
sorry, someone here.
Michael had his hand up earlier, so I don't know if he still wants to talk before Toy spoke. Michael? Okay, I don't know if it's
Michael?
Michael.
Sorry, I was having connection problems again.
Okay.
Okay, that's no
Right.
one.
It was going back to the point that you were making about Tommy Robinson. Now, it goes really hand in hand with what I said earlier, in that when we have these discourse with racists, we call them out and we cut to the chase, and we don't actually hide our talk. Now, I remember you saying that you reached out to Tommy Robinson, and I'm really pleased, first of all, that that didn't actually come off, because if you notice, he went on a PR tour. He was courting black presenters, he was courting black outlets and platforms to legitimize his words, to legitimize himself as a person. And to a certain extent, look, he's actually achieved it. I see black people twerking for him all the time at his raves. The 27th was the last time that he held an event, and there were black people there twerking for him. But we know what this racist is about. So, what I was going to say is yes, by all means, do invite him on your platform to talk to him, but be mindful of who you have on the panel. We can't have what has gone on before, and that is Tommy Robinson unbridled, talking his trash and not being challenged on it. As much as I love the brother and I love the platform, RTM, Realer Than Most, lovely platform, fantastic platform, gave Tommy Robinson a free reign, basically, to say what he felt like saying, particularly around Islam. And I just found that disgusting. But fact of the matter is, it was a question, really, in all of that. Um, where are you with connecting? I use that word loosely, with Tommy Robinson, and is he up for a public debate? Because that's part of all of this, and that is gaining the narrative and disproving a lot of the bullshit that he comes out with.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Michael. Thank you. So for me, I don't know if you agree with this, but I think sometimes it's also good to dialogue. So, for example, let's say we could win someone like maybe Tom Robson to change his mind, have a different mindset change. Listen, that means that 1,000 of his followers will also believe that, you know what, maybe we're wrong all along. But I guess, I mean, it's good to try, but he hasn't wanted to come around. This, not just with Tommy, the likes of Dave Addington as well, who claimed to be our friend, by the way, Mr. Taib. Am I right, Mr. Taib? Dave just said was our friend. Am I right, Mr. Taib? I'm Bookie on the space.
Well, the Dave that was here is different from the Dave that is out there. So,
And that's the one that we really want to see. We really want to
yes,
hear from the
yes.
person spitting the racism on the timeline. But he couldn't do it with chest. When I took it to him, it was almost as though he'd been caught like a rabbit in the headlights. Now, the fact of the matter is this: if people are going to come up on your stage, you need to be challenging them. And that's what I'm saying. You need the right panelists who aren't just going to have him ride roughshod over them, who aren't just going to be hoodwinked, who aren't just going to let him just have free reign over what he says. Tommy Robinson should be challenged at each and every step for everything he says, because what we have to be mindful of is those people who come and they visit your platform will be listening to him and be taken in by what he has said. And the next thing you know, that they're twerking for him at his next event.
Wow. Okay. Mr. Taib, quickly, please, sir. Yeah, quickly.
Exactly. Thank you so much for that, Michael. And I think one of the things that we were able to establish that day was the lack of knowledge in terms of what international students and care workers bring to the country. And we came in that day with a lot of data just to let him know that, look, you can't paint everybody with the same brush. When we come, when we West Africans come, when we from all over the world come, we don't get put in hotels. We don't get public funds. You know, we pay billions of pounds into the system. When we rent houses, landlords ask us for 6 months rent in advance because we have no reference. These are the kind of things that we bring into the economy. And we start from the ground up. You know, we start by cleaning. There is virtually no student that will be on this space that has not done cleaning, laying beds, security. These are the kind of jobs we do. We pay taxes while studying, you know, and that is how people get what they put into the system. They put so much into the system for years before they even get one penny out of the system. They don't say that on mainstream media. I was on BBC one time and they were asking me questions about what the international students bring into the economy. And I educate my British friends as well. I'm like, look, I pay this amount as application fee when I come here. They are always opening their mouth like, what? I pay NHS surcharge that I may never use as an international student. You know, if I'm applying for a graduate visa, I'll pay the application fee, I'll pay NHS surcharge for every valid year of that visa. These are billions of pounds that goes into in the coffers of the government. What the government is using those money for is what the British people should be asking the government. They are not being truthful. And that's why I said the politicians are also culpable in all of this. The anti-migrant rhetoric has gone on for so long. I'll start from David Cameron. I'll make migration tens of thousands. Start from go to Theresa May. She stopped post-study work visa, and it was like creating a hostile environment. And it just goes on and on and on. You had Priti Patel, you had Suella Braverman, everybody just demonizing migrants. And now everything has now come full-blown air. Everybody is hiding. Nobody is saying anything. But we just have to try our best and manage this situation. Hopefully it gets better, but it is long time coming, unfortunately. Thank you.
Hi, can I just chip in before
Yeah,
the tide changes?
Lavia, just hold on a second, please. There's a, I mean, we do have a people we have to call. Just give me. You probably speak after the next speaker, and then I'll just come to you, please. Just bear with me, please.
Lovely.
Okay, thank you, man. Mr. Victor, the mic is yours. Good evening, sir. The mic is yours, sir.
Oh, hello. Good evening, everybody. A lot has been said. I only just joined a few minutes ago when Buki was speaking, and so a lot has been covered already. I'm not necessarily going to repeat what's been covered, but I'm assuming this bit hasn't been covered yet. But I'm just going to share this bit. So yes, we need to look after ourselves. We need to think about what we say and how we explain what's going on here to our kids. There's the whole thing around trying to understand the meaning of what's just happened or what's happening. But beyond all of these, I think we need to be. So I'm thinking about this more from in terms of what Keir Starmer said in his statement yesterday around obviously there's going to be 24-hour courts open and the rest of it, and just perhaps as a community we need to be very careful in terms of what we do outside in public, or even what we do on social media, because I'm thinking back to what happened in 2011. So in 2011 we had a riot, we had a lot of looting, people went into Foot Lockers all around everywhere, literally grabbing trainers, grabbing all sorts. And just in terms of how the court, how the system dealt with the situation, it was very brutal. People were denied bail. Literally, they were literally scrolling through CCTV cameras and picking people left, right, center. I was speaking to a lawyer yesterday, and we were just talking about it. And on the back of that, I sent a message to a Lawmo and others, just saying that we need to really just try, I don't know how to say this, but we just need to be careful where we are. If you don't need to be outside, you don't need to be outside. The last thing you want is to be caught on a CCTV camera, someone knocking on your door and all that kind of stuff. You just want to avoid that. And also, the other thing we're seeing is, of course, you've got you have these crazy people out there, but also you have the anti-racist campaigners out there as well. I'm in Sheffield. We had them on Sunday out there in town, obviously saying asylums are welcome here and the rest of it, which is all right and all good. But obviously, what's happening is you now have you sometimes in some places you get altercations. So you have the racists trying to attack the anti-racists and all that kind of stuff. And I just think for some of us, we're here for a purpose. We're here as students. We're here. We've got various reasons why we're in the country, and I think we just need to be mindful of that. If you do not need to be out there, then don't be out there. There's a time to fight. There's a time to go out there. I've done my bit. All the campaigns and the rest of it. I've done quite a lot of that in my past. But I think there's a time for things, and I think given the way the police and everybody has reacted in 2011, I would personally just avoid even those campaigns and stuff. I will avoid the kind of conversations I have on Twitter and the kind of arguments I'm having on there, because people can, as you can imagine, people will misconstrue what you say and things like that. I People ask me messages online, and I've just messaged them privately and spoken to them privately rather than sharing my views and all that. Just because there's some crazy people out there who would just misinterpret what you're trying to say, take it to some extreme level. They're just really silly people out there. So if there's one piece of advice I'll give the community is let's just be careful what we post, what we share, and how much of an argument we're trying to have with some really silly people out there, because your employer, whoever, you're working for somebody. Some of us, okay, we run our own businesses, but for some others, you work for someone. Your employer could easily pick up on what you're saying, and it becomes a whole different issue from what it was meant to be. We know how these things work. We've been around this sort of situations in the past. People say one thing, they do another thing. Um, we see that obviously with the way the reporting is all coming out, the way the media reflect explaining it all, and we know which side they're on. We know how that there's so much ignorance going out there, and you just don't want to be in the mix of that. So I think that's just the only other thing I just thought I'll share. But I agree completely with what's been shared already. It is just really toxic. This is kind of inevitable in a way. What we're seeing here is all part of the conversations and the statements over the years. We're seeing the fruition of it. This is what it causes. But also, I just can't wait for summer to be over in a way. I can't wait for rain to come back so people can go back in their houses and stop being burning places. I just can't, I can't wait for football to resume. But maybe that might just take away their focus from this craziness they're doing out there in the streets. But it is, yeah, we need to look after ourselves, but also just be careful what we do publicly out there. I hope that helps someone. Thank you. Thanks a lot more.
Okay. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you, Victor. I'll sort of agree and disagree with you some point there. So for me, I don't think it's just about it just going away. I think we need to sit and look at the root causes of some of the problems we have in our society. I mean, a lot of things should change. So maybe for me, for example, I would love the government to, maybe start with more education in our schools and of course young adults. Like I said, I mean, just looking at the what happened just July 4th of July, just last month, 60% of the voters that voted for Reform Party were uh under 30s, whites under 30s. Understand? So clearly we have a big problem. Understand? Okay, fine. If this goes away, then what's gonna happen in the next couple of months down the line? What's gonna happen in a year down the line? So we need to go back to the drawing board. There's a lot of issues we need to talk about. For me, I believe we need to start educating our young people more in schools. Things need to change society. It has to start with the youths. The whole country needs to probably get their heads around this and educate throughout the school, working on acceptance and, of course, changing the mindset. For me, the mindset is the key figure. It's not going to be easy, but that's the key. We have to get it right. Otherwise, my friend Victor, yes, fine, okay, no more ride today. Then it's going to happen again next couple of weeks or months. I mean, I remember the whole July 11, 2011, when we had the July right. I mean, that's a bit different because that was, when Mark Duggan was killed by the police and sort of maybe institutional racism from the police force. That's a talk for another day. But this is a total different ball game when you look at the whole level of the whole far right parties in the UK, and this is far right Tory. I mean, the Prime Minister Kerstin said it. This is far right Tory self. We've had the British National Party for many years. The National Social Movement, what's it called, Greater Britain Movement, the British Movement, the National Democratic Party, National Front, which is the NF. In fact, NF was the worst many years ago. I mean, they sort of dialed down a little bit now. Uh, the British National Party was not that big then. We used to be NF back then, but National Front now has now gone down a bit. And then I think we have now, what's it called? I think National Independence Party, also now Reform Party. And I mean, the second part was the fact that Rees-Mogg had the audacity of the Conservative Party because they're desperate for power, was saying they can actually work together with the Reform Party. If people didn't find that disturbing, and if you Conservative Party, you Tory member, I know we have a lot of Tory members in our community. I think that's very disturbing. Mr. Toy, quickly, please, Mr. Toy, please. Sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, Victor, for those insights. And we just hope that things calm down. But I was watching a clip earlier. Someone phoned into LBC, and he said he actually, I mean, I'll share it on my timeline in a bit. He said he actually traveled all the way to Middlesbrough to protest against Black and Asian people because 95% of them are problematic. Like, how do you deal with that kind of problem? And the presenter was asking him, where did you get this information from? He said he read it on the internet. And when I think it was one quote I read one time, you don't need to worry about where someone will go or what someone will do once you can control what that person listens to. When you control that what that person is listening to regularly and you are feeding them regularly, most of the people that kind of like prompted all of this that have been doing it for several months, a lot of them are on holiday now. A lot of them are on holiday. They've prepared the hate for several months. Everything has boomerang now. They are tweeting, they are sharing videos from outside the UK. And that is exactly what is going on here. How do you re-educate the mind of people to let them know that immigrants are actually a net positive to this country? This is the problem that we deal with. And we have to understand that um, we have to be tactical, like when someone comes at you aggressively like that, especially when you get it from young children, you want to imagine what kind of information is being fed to these people at home. We are here already. A lot of us have been here for several years. A lot of us are paying tax here for several years. How do we solve this problem? Because when these riots died down, with the kind of rhetoric that politicians have used for several years now, how do we solve this problem of re-education of people to say that, okay, migrants are not actually your enemies? Because that's what they've been told for several years. Migrants are actually people that pay tax, people that don't take public funds. It's a very, very difficult problem, unfortunately. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, the breaking news now is that there's actually another riot going on in Plymouth at present. So if you're in Plymouth, we know we have quite a few members of our community that lives in Plymouth. Linda, Lane, the rest. I can't remember, but I know we have a few people there. So please stay indoors. Please, very very important. In fact, some police officers have been injured. I'm just watching it now on the news live currently. So some police officers have been injured in the riots currently going on implement. So please stay safe if you implement yourself. So, Mr. Victor, quickly, please, sir. The mic is yours.
I think Toyi covered the point I wanted to make. I think you said something earlier on, Aloma, and I was just thinking about it a bit. Is, we that's you're completely right about, we need to try and educate, and we'll do the best we can. But I think, and also where we get it, where we get the opportunity to speak on platforms, in front to, like Toyib does, to the BBC and the rest of it, we need to seize the opportunity. We need to do our research, and we need to obviously speak and educate, because that's the only way we can really try and pass on the message and really make people understand that the message they've got out there is wrong. But I'm thinking about this as well from the other perspective, in terms of the fact that we've been down this road in this country for too long. I remember when Stephen Lawrence was murdered. I remember all that went on, the whole, situation around, that was what the phrase institutional racism was coined by Lord Macpherson and the rest of it. So I remember all of that, and I know the reaction at the time, I also then think about what happened only 4 years ago or thereabout, when um, the gentleman in America got murdered and everyone started screaming Black Lives Matters. We're all being interviewed. Literally, everybody wanted to interview a black person at that time, and people made all sort of promises and the rest of it. But all of a sudden, this is going on now, and everyone's quiet. The same organizations who were like, "Oh yeah, we'll sponsor this. We'll make sure we have 5 black people in our board of directors." All that kind of promises people made. Or the whole talk about DNI. As you probably know, every organization has a DENI group or something in there. They have someone who's leading that up. So I think in terms of education, the opportunity is there. The thing is there is whether or not these organizations and societies really ready to learn to hear, um, rather than just looking for the token black man somewhere to try and educate them. I once read a book by someone who was saying, it's not my job to educate these people. They can actually read. If they really care, they can find the answer. But if you're lazy, of course, you go for the first thing you see on the internet and run with that negative story. But if you just take your time to pause and think, they can actually find the answers to the situations around them. So I think there is a piece, yes, there's a place for us to educate, but also I think we've been around this route many times in the past, and it's quite disheartening with what's going on. It's just horrible. But again, I just can't wait for summer to be over. I can't wait for sports to return, because I think
Okay.
that will hopefully bring down the craziness going on right now.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Victor. Thank you for that. Just like everybody's been saying there, when you look at the widespread violence and the hate crimes, not just I think we've had about 16 different cities, from Sunderland all the way to Middlesbrough, Rotherham, that's happened in the last few days. Totally, totally unacceptable. I mean, it's disgusting to see. When you look at, hotels that were meant to be housing people. We came to UK to seek sanctuary. I mean, set on fire. Look at what happened in Holiday Inn in Rotherham yesterday. Set on fire. Mosques where people are praying in their own religion are being destroyed, set on fire. Businesses being attacked, looted, and people being targeted. Like, for example, in Middlesbrough, because of the color of their skin, their face, or the cultural origin. I mean, makes me sick in this part of the world. Makes me sick and disgusted. Because actually, sit down, I'm just thinking, what exactly is going on in these people's minds? But guess what? The racist violence we are now seeing in the streets, before the general, for me, it comes back to some of the things that happened before the general election, the intense period of or scapegoating, and not just in all fairness, also for Labour Party myself, I voted for Keir Starmer, not just from Labour Party itself, but from Conservative Party to Green Party to Liberal Democrats. There were all period. There was before the election. There was a lot of period of scapegoating refugees and migrants by politicians, which was a very, very dangerous rhetoric and policy. Just like Michael said earlier on, oh, stop the boats, that kind of stuff. There's a way you can put it across in a better way. And I hope those who have spread those rhetorics, they can look at the consequences today and their words, and of course maybe learn to do better. I mean, for me, it's even the audacity of the likes of Reg Moggs himself to say, oh, we can work with the Reform Party, or because you want to be the Labour Party. Unbelievable. Ufuma, go ahead, please. Yeah.
All right, thank you. I was just doing that, like, not to cut you short, but just to reduce the time. Um, Kimi Soko, hi. I know you have been raising up your hand since. I'm not sure. Has Miss Rora spoken earlier? Flora, hi. Have you spoken earlier?
No, I haven't.
You haven't. Okay. So Flora will speak now, then Kimmy would go afterwards. Pardon me, Counselor. I know their hands have been up for a while, so I just want them to speak, then you can take over if that's okay. Thank you. Hello, Flora, please over to you. And please, can we keep it a bit like straight
Sure.
because of
Thank
the
you.
time? Thank you.
Thank you, Alfalma. Right. Basically, as somebody who grew up in Deptford and in the 80s, I didn't grow up. I was actually in primary school, and then seeing the May War and everything else, and then we come here, and then we all wonder, how did we get here? You know, when the economy of the UK is not doing so well, it's usually forms this type of things of blaming the immigrant. And today I was really feeling emotional when I saw the reflection on Channel 4 that most of the houses I was seeing yesterday being demolished, and, you know, people throwing stones were actually black people who were living there. And seeing young kids, it's just sad, right? It was sad to see someone like Rishi Sunak, who should know better, using migrants, and, you know, James Cleverly, who grew up in Lewisham, talk like that. You know, I don't know what this country has become, but we just feel like we're scapegoats. I don't belong in this country. I've never taken a British passport because I don't really think I belong here, right? Some people would think, yeah, it's good to have it, but at what expense do you have it for when you're treated like a third class citizen? I was in a space yesterday where people were blaming African leaders, saying, "Oh, immigrants are coming here because your leaders are dictators and they don't know how to write an economy," not looking in terms of how they're destroying your economies to suit their own justification in terms of war and everything else. And as more as we try and try to justify ourselves and our existence, I don't know how far we're going to take that for. You know, some of us are moving back to our own country because we feel more better there than we do in this country anymore. I mean, I've been here, primary school, secondary school. I've never lived in Africa, but I'm feeling more inclined to go and live the rest of my life there because this country and the racism from work, I've been victimized by Asian people lately since Rishi Sunak came into power. I was fed food from Indian food, during lockdown. Many people didn't notice. It's like somehow there's an upper class of people who shouldn't be touched by Tommy. Tommy doesn't talk about Indians, which are more than the Muslims and everyone else. He basically selects the people that he wants because the other ones are okay. They built the economy. They come from a country that's richer than than UK at the moment. So I don't know what we need to be careful about, but somehow, to sit here and start to think that what are we rationalizing here? I went outside today for the first time, just took a walk. There was no one. My neighbor, I know the husband is a bit of a racist because I moved out from London, right? She couldn't look me in the eyes. And it didn't click on me. I was just waving like a mad person. I went to the shops, just a Tesco extra. There was no black person there. It was just me buying my stuff that I needed and just went back in. But there's this silence, which is not normal. I've never seen this in my entire life. And I just feel like, I feel scared for everyone. I just don't want to see any person, like seeing someone in Bristol, a black guy, I don't even know what he was doing there, being attacked, attacked. We need to be careful, guys. We can try to be political, but something's got to give. And if they come to places where black people are, we're not as strong as we are. We're being gentrified in London, right? They know what they're doing. So we can laugh and say, come to Walthamstow. But those places don't no longer belong to us. They're not really safe anymore because most of the people got moved a long time ago. We're not really that strong as we think we are. As we were in the 80s and the 90s, we're not that strong. Trust me, we are, it's just, I don't know what it is, but this is not right. Especially when you're sitting in the last government that was very right wing, led by Asians. That's scary. That's always scared me. I mean, I voted for the second time. You know, I don't vote that often, but I had to go and vote Labour. I didn't even care who was on the ballot. But what I heard from the Tories really frightened me. And we should be worried, because the future is for your kids and everyone else. And we need to think about our own safety at the same time, think about the future. In terms of the economy, is the economy improving? If the economy doesn't improve, look at how they did the Brexit. It's because they didn't want Eastern European in this country. I remember a white lady saying to me, "Oh, you're British." And I was just like, when did I become British now? Because she didn't like Eastern European people. These people are funny. They don't have a side, right? Islam, it does not really say Islam from Arab states. Islam is everywhere. It's all over Africa. So what does it really combine? Which Islam are they fighting against? You know, we can't really sit here and say, oh, they're fighting Islam, it's Islamophobic. No, because Islam is in Nigeria. It's my husband is Muslim. It is in Zimbabwe. So we need to be careful what we support and how they actually try to divide and rule us. Either we stand together with the Islams and we stand together with everyone else, or we're just going to end up as being scapegoat and trying to think, oh, am I a better black person? Am I doing the right thing? Am I being political correct? Because these people, I don't think they actually are human beings anymore. They hate you for being better than them. They hate you for providing the economy with life, because they can't do it. They've been sitting on the breadline from schools. If you look at the education, white guys have been below, white boys in school have been below black guys for a very long time. They have lost the marbles. So what do? They look at it as like, oh no, we can't do better. I mean, a lady who went to prison, she had 11 counts of, criminal records that she's had. How many people have that and still living in society and have a job? And she's a white woman, right? These people are on the, I don't know, third world, not even third world. I wouldn't call it third world, but they're not exactly nice people. And I was young grew up in Brixton. I grew up in Lewisham, in Deptford, and white people have always been like that, especially where we go and pitch our tent amongst the poor people. When we come in this country, when we learn, we move into a better environment. But those people will always be what they are because they don't think. We can't change them. So we just need to teach each other, when you come to the UK, which is the right place for you to go to, or I don't know. I'm lost for word, but me, I'm exiting back to my country. Thank you so much.
Oh, wow, wow, wow. Thank you very much, Rami. Thank you for that. And obviously, that's were you based in the UK, by the way, Maria? Were you based in the UK?
No, I'm in Northamptonshire.
What time did she and that happened? Wow, wow, unbelievable. Wow, wow. I mean, Northampton's very quiet, quiet city. And in all fairness, when we look at a lot of things, for me, part of me also felt like we're making a lot of progress. When you look at obviously what happened with like Stephen Lawrence when he was killed. By the way, if you're in the space, not many people would have probably heard of Stephen Lawrence before. So Stephen Lawrence is a black teenager that was killed just sitting on a bus stop with five different locals in Eltham back in the days. Some of them were convicted, but there was a lot of issues around it itself. But when you look at the likes of Eltham, I remember then many years ago that I could even go to like the likes of McDonald's in Eltham High Street, for
Or even
example.
Dagenham, and it went black. Dagenham,
Yeah,
Eltham, you can enter
you know,
those places.
yeah, Eltham, Shooters Hill, Bexley Heath, Erith, Welling. I mean, many years ago, you could, I mean, it's practically impossible for you to go there as a black person. But now, now you could look at, walk down Eltham High Street, Shooters Hill is all taken over. I mean, people is very multicultural. So I also believe we've made some progress. I mean, but unfortunately, this far right are trying to hold us back. But I believe we can put our foot down, make sure, we still have to make the progress. And maybe they like it or not, we're here to stay. It's just that simple. We're here to stay. But thank you very much, Madam Rurama. Just keep it safe. I know. Are you Debele Oshona? And I know you're from Zim. Are you Debele Oshona?
No, I'm a mixed breed. I'm from my
Mixed
mom.
breed.
My mom is
Okay.
from Mozambique, and it's
Mozambique.
quite funny. I'm from the whole Sadok,
Also, okay. So you're gonna be
but
going back to
well, maybe Shona because I'm from Harare. But
Aurora. Okay.
I don't really think on a
The
travel line
Trinidad.
half of the time.
Okay, fantastic. All right, no problem. That's fine. Appreciate it. All right. Thank you very much. Okay, Sister Kimmy, good evening. The mic is just mine. Go ahead, man.
Hi everyone. Just sending everyone so much love and warmth and a hug and safety and protection. This time is very hard, and I just hope that wherever you are, you know that you are not alone, that we are collectively feeling this pain and we're reeling, and I'm just putting my arms around you. But I just wanted to highlight the fact that my own father side of the family is Shona, right? And my mother's South African, and I grew up hearing this proverb in Shona that says "Mviro mviro demanza mapeka," and it means that the foreshadowing of boldness is like a receding hairline, right? So when these things happen, there's always whisperings, there's always trends, there's always warnings, but because we're eternal optimist and we look at the world with rose colored glasses and impose our values on other people, we don't actually shine our eyes and protect ourselves in a way, and protect our space, protect our spirits, protect our minds. These people are have made an intellectual decision, an intellectual commitment to ignorance. There is no educating them, because when we show Black excellence, it threatens them. When we show Black family, it goes against what they've been programmed, and it causes a cognitive dissonance. And the only way that they're able to reckon with that is to lash out. There is no saving these people. If we look at our American cousins, they had to, like, I think white supremacy is the same but different toilet, sorry to be cross, but it is the same recipe, different cake. It's the same formula. And when you look at, like, they had to have a green book for where it's safe to go to the south, and we're receding back in society to where we're having these meetings where Harriet Tubman and the people them had to have underground railroad meetings. They had to devise a green book. This is not the time for each one teach one. These are lost people. This is each one protect one. Each one protect your peace. Each one educate your brother and your sister and your loved ones and the people in your network that you come into contact with. Then the really, the white supremacy is the monster, is the beast. And if you look in France, in Germany, in America, and in this country, white supremacy, it's always the riots always target immigrants and blame immigrants for their own failings when it comes from broken homes, addiction, a lack of education, all of these things. If you look at the dental situation of all these people looting Shoe Zone, you just see that these people were not taught the value of self-care and self in a country where there's an NHS, when most of these people are on these benefits where they could get free dental care, but they have no teeth. So we're dealing with a beast where, if we want to reach out, where it starts is young minds, because they won't listen to us. You are just but a nigger. Sorry, pardon me. But if you are to radicalize and to really revolutionize the young minds of, because there are allies, that ally at the dining room table is going to do more than we can do personally. That ally at you know talk, talking against certain behaviors, talking against ignorances, like really. talking back at ignorance and racism is going to do a lot more. So our teaching energy cannot be to the lost ones. They have made a commitment intellectually, spiritually, and everything, like flat earthers and the people them. The ones that really still have hope is the young people that are still malleable brain age, because some of these protesters were the skinheads. They were the people that did the damage. So that's all I can say, you know.
Oops. Thank you so much. Like, it's just too much to take in. And the first question I'm asking myself is, what are we going to tell our children? How are we going to protect them? I just shared with my friends that I couldn't take my nephew out to the field, to the park close to us, to just have his regular football session because I'm scared. What if we're there and something breaks out? Will I put this boy on my head and start running? What happens? And then we have to start doing DIY garden. It's, I don't know. Counselor, what do you guys think? Again, I'm scared. What if this thing is happening in the period when school is in session? The children are home now, bless God. What if it continues till when they have to resume? Will our children not go to school? What's the safety of our children? Because these people, I mean, I've seen lots of videos and I've seen lots of little children. I saw one child just looks like a 10-year-old boy wearing masks, throwing stones. I'm like, what? Why are you even outside? Why are you even in this protest? Very little girls singing different things. I'm like, no. And these are the people that they will grow with this mentality. So how are we going to protect our children from them? Because their parents are already teaching them something. What are we going to teach our children? So I would pass the mic over to Counselor if you have anything to say, because I mean the children just I can't imagine it. Then any other person that wants to say anything about this.
Okay. I think what you will find is that I think government and the police will probably step in a lot more harder. I don't think we'll get to September, given that's where are we now? We're the 5th of August, aren't we? So we're talking 4 weeks. I don't think this is going to run, and I hope not. It's not going to run and run for the next 4 weeks. I just can't see it. I think there'll be a lot more of a hardline policing measures and a lot more in terms of the court system. I think once the 24-hour courts and the special prosecutors get going, I think that will then start to act more as a deterrent. Or that's what I hope. But yeah, I don't see us going to September. In terms of protecting children, I am just as shocked and upset as you are watching kids, young as 6 years old, being taken by their uneducated parents, shall we say, to these protests. I mean, I watched a video yesterday, and I think we've all seen it, where there's these two kids, I reckon about 6 or 7, and they were shouting "Packies out," and they got that from their parents. And you just think to yourself, my God, this is what this has really come to now. Um, I hope coming September that it's now down to the schools, that schools will now use their discretion, and actually they will teach a lot more about culture and maybe have a discussion as to what's happened over the summer, and put it into a way that actually they understand, what's going on. I also think the parents could also do that education in the meantime as well. I know some people are already, but I do think a lot more parents could also teach their kids looking back at history. This is why where we've got to today. because of what's happened previously. Um, so yes, that's where I'm possibly in that direction. But I can reassure you that I don't see these riots going for another 4 weeks. I do think the 24-hour courts and the special prosecution, once that kicks in properly, I think that will start to act as more of a deterrent. Um, but if this does go into next week or towards the end of next week, then I think you might see a different tone coming from the government in terms of how to dispel these protests, whether that's bringing the army in, which I know that any government would obviously be hesitant bringing in, um, or maybe some sort of curfew system. But yet again, I think the government would be um, very hesitant to go down that road.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Councillor Jamin. So the other breaking news is there's a big riot going on at present in Birmingham. Looks like there'll be a fight back from what we're seeing, but please, if you're in Broome, please stay safe. We just saw a tweet from one of our committee members, Ruby Lauren, who just said she's basically has to turn a light off with her flatmate in the house, turn off the fuse box to keep your dog just to for them to be safe indoors. So please, if you're in Broome, there's a big riot going on in Birmingham present, so please stay safe. To the best of my knowledge, Birmingham and Plymouth tonight, so please let's stay safe at all times as well. Okay, Ceci, you see, wanted to ask a question quickly, Ceci. Quickly, what question do you want to ask?
Yes, sir. Concerning what this former speaker said about how we can have a dialogue, especially with the children, because here in Middlesbrough, most of those that smash the windows and all those kind of stuff, they are children under the age of 10, 11, 12. And I don't know, I wonder where they get this so-called monkey and all these nasty terminologies. So I don't know if there is a way maybe we, the Black community, can actually maybe it's write a letter to the schools that look, this orientation that they are giving them is not really nice and they're actually destroying their future with it. So I don't know. I just said let me ask because I heard that in London, if racism in London is kind of like a 5 out of 10, in Middlesbrough it's like a 9 out of 10 because the Middlesbrough is very notorious for racism. So that's what I wanted to ask. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Oh, thank you very much, Ceci. I'm not sure. Probably there's used to be. I know that there's a lot of people in Middlesbrough on benefits. It's probably one of the cheapest places to live in the UK. One of the cheapest areas, maybe not the UK, maybe in England, but not really sure the racism issue. But like I said earlier on before, education is one of the keys. Our youth have to be educated from, and we need to go back to the drawing board. It has to start from the schools as well to change that mindset. Because some homes just even parents, some homes are using the N word, and those kids are used to it, and then they come to school. You heard some youngsters who use the N word because maybe their parents using the house, so to the best of their knowledge is okay. So for me, the government has to go back to the drawing board, and it has to start from educating the youth and changing the mindset at all times. Sister, can you so go quickly, please? The market is quickly, please. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just saying that restorative justice starts at home. It starts within your children. The first revolution that you can start is within your children's minds, and they have already started a revolution in their homes. And if we think that, like, oh, what can we do? Oh my gosh, well, we're just gonna have to pray and just hope that we are sadly mistaken. We need to teach our children social justice truths about not only self love of who they are as Black people and the value that they bring just by the virtue of you existing and your Blackness and the power and the beautiful and the statement thereof, but also the realities of this world. And this should be a wake up call because we should already be parenting in this way that you get your children ready for the world as is. But right now is the time to at your children's age for your 5-year-old explain it to them as a 5-year-old for your 11-year-old for your my 10-year-old we are talking like baby girl, the world is crazy right now. There's some people who are hurting, that have some really bad circumstances, that that are angry and they're lashing out, and someone like you is a trigger. It's nothing to do with you. It doesn't diminish your value, it doesn't diminish your beauty. All of these things to affirm them, but also to put in safety measures, and also to be in contact with these schools and be proactive and be like to the teachers, I'm aware that this is going on. As a parent, what can we put in place to make sure that my child is safe? Because, like, you can drive defensively, you can do many things defensively. This is the time to parent defensively, because it calls for it. Because our future leaders and activists and just your family tree depends on it. Your children, your offspring depend on it.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, King, for that. Okay, I'm just going to give the mic quickly to Mr. Dijiwazi. I don't think he said anything. So, Mr. Dijiwazi, good evening. The mic is yours, man.
It's gonna be out. Yeah. Sorry, I was just going to elaborate on what Uloma, what you said the last time about reporting to the police. Whenever you're in situations like that. I think I had some personal experiences, and I think the police were quite helpful. There were some situations whereby some strange substances were thrown into my house. I think the first time I thought I don't know what happened. Yeah, I think like drug or something. I thought it wasn't intentional, but I realized it happened the second time. Then I had to involve the police. You know, and funny enough, since I reported to the police, they stopped. Doing that. And on another occasion, there was a time because I parked my car outside. Yeah, I mean, and I'm always wondering why only me. I mean, everyone on the street. Why me? I mean, just some couple of times whereby some of my some things on my car has been taken off. Like taking off the cover of my fuel tank and all that. I had to report to the police, right? And I promise you, since I reported, it stopped. So the reason I'm just saying it is just to advise everyone. I mean, we pay taxes. Don't be scared of the police. This is not like back home where the police don't even take actions. They do, yeah. If you have situations like that, just report to the police, and they rectify it for you. It's just an advice. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wazi. Thank you for that. So, guys, thank you for the space. We've been on it since 8 o'clock. We've had some heated. Sister Buki, we're going to say something quickly. Buki? Sister Buki. Okay, maybe she can hear me. So we've been on it since 8 o'clock. We've had some heated conversations, and I hope we've all learned from so many things we've said so far on the space. There's a lot going on at present. Like I said once again, please, if you're in Birmingham or Plymouth, please make sure you stay safe at all times. So I'm just going to give the mic to Michael to give us his closing remarks. Please, Michael. I'm going to be closing space soon. Michael, go ahead, please.
Thanks. A lot of what you've heard this evening has been real common sense stuff. And I'm really hoping that, you got a lot of value out of what has been spoken about, not just by way of tips, but just the testimony of those people who are actually living through what is effectively, a civil war. Because when you think about it, you look at the timeline now, you've got basically people roaming around the country, and based on the color of your skin, they are determining whether they are attacking you or not. Now, I really hope that some of the common sense tips you've heard this evening doesn't make you feel as though you shouldn't be going out. But if you do go out, the one thing I would advise, have your head on a swivel, because it's not obviously going to be every minute of the day. I'm just saying, just be aware of your surroundings, be around of where you are, be aware of who is around you, and just stay safe out there.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for always honoring our invitation at all times, and thank you for everything you do for the Black community at all times. Listen, amazing work you're doing. Always fighting for, against police, or racial issues at all times. Always grateful to have you on board. So please, if you're not joining the UK, please make sure you join the Nigerian UK community. Follow the official handle. You see a link how to join our community. You need two things to join our community: to have a profile picture, and the second thing is to make sure you're also based in the UK as well. Also, we had just our summer hangouts last weekend in Swansea, Wales. And so I want to say a big thank you on behalf of the community to all the NIUK event planning committee. We had a wonderful time. It was nice for all of us to connect together. People travel from all around the UK down to the event. A big thank you to all of our guests that came. Everyone who supported the community, bought tickets, all the food vendors, everybody who did their part. Listen, amazing. We're going to be hosting a space on the, I think, 25th of August to talk about the event itself, and of course, the accountability and everything on the 25th of August for the community. I think that'll be on the 25th of August. But once again, a big thank you to everybody, and I hope everyone who came down to Swansea go back home safely as well. Travel, flights, transportation, everything. Just hope everybody go back home safely. And a big thank you to our people also in Swansea, the likes of Darcy Olamide, and Naya, people really made life a lot easier for us in Swansea. It was an amazing weekend. Some of us were there for a couple of days, and it was great to be in Wales. On Sunday, we're going to be having a space on Sunday called Essentials of Financial Security and Intelligence. Very, very important that every one of us will attend that space. We're going to be talking about life insurance, income protection, all these stuff as well on Sunday in the space. Essentials of financial security and intelligence itself. That'll be on Sunday, 7 o'clock. Amazing guest speaker who's going to come and educate us and enlighten us. Once again, I'm going to repeat this. I've said it so many times. Please, please, please make sure you join the union. Very, very important. I can say averagely at least 1 to 2 weeks a member of our committee is getting sacked. There's underlying issues to it, but it's important for you to make sure you join the union to protest. So when I say join the union, join the trade union. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have someone from the trade union who's gonna come and educate us on the space, some of the benefits, the reasons why, probably like an hour space just to, and of course, what kind of trade unions to join, what kind of unions to join our workspace for you yourself. I'm not too sure the dates yet, but once the gentleman confirms to me, we'll put it out there and we'll have the space for up and running. I think for me, it's even a matter of emergency for us to have a space regarding the unions, what they do and how much it costs, what package you need, that kind of stuff itself. We get us sorted out the next couple of days. We're announcing the community and we could get a space itself up and running. I'm just going to give the mic to Buki to give us our closing remarks in place. Start Buki.
Thank you. I think Michael said it all, and I love the fact that we closed with the generation to come in educating them and just building up that awareness with them. Because just like one of the previous speakers spoke, it isn't just as much as trying to pretend that everything is okay, because I think that's what's been happening over the past couple of decades or so, just pretending and hoping that it will just fly over. And we're seeing this incidents happen every maybe 10 years, 4 years, and it's becoming quite frequent. I think the most important thing is, in as much as they are teaching their children in a home as well about what's happening in the society, we also have to teach our children and equip them with the right information, especially, even from school, because to be honest with you, we have them for this summer, but they will be going back to school in September. And I hear in Ufuma's voice the hurt and the fear factor that the children will be going back to school in September. And in as much as Councillor Jeremy highlighted that the government probably will not allow this to happen, we still need to be very, very aware of this and start putting a plan in place in terms of how we're educating our children, also being aware of the community that we are in, and also of our neighbours as well, and also to keep the conversation going on within our own said community, i.e., NIU, whatever community you're a part of, continuously build that awareness, not hatred. We don't want to feel hatred with hatred because that would be counterproductive, but more action, action and solutions of how do we tackle this? How do we work through this? And that's what I'm going to leave it with. Focus on our children, build awareness, continue the conversation with actionable actions that we can take either within as a community to continuously educate ourselves as well as support each other. And yes, please be safe out there. God bless you all.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Buki. Thank you for everything you do for the community as well. Always glad to have you. Mentorship people, making life a lot easier for community members. Grateful at all times. Mr. Toib, you're closing the mic someplace, sir. Mr. Toib? Okay.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can know you, sir. We can know you,
Oh
sir.
yeah. Thank you so much to everyone that has joined in. Thank you so much to the organizers. We've been here for about 3 hours. I joined slightly later. I think we've said it all. There is a serious bit of education that we will have to do. Serious bits of talking. We can't stop doing this. We are here. We are living here. This is our home. This will be our children's home. Unfortunately, we are where we are now. Um, in the meantime, it is to try and be as safe as we can. But in the long run, we will be seeing how the government wants to play this in terms of what we do, communicating with communities, and just bringing peace and harmony and prosperity. But you could see what has been happening in the last few years um, in France, in Italy, in America, like the rhetoric in the West at the moment is so much anti-immigration, and it is playing out. It is snowballing into something big. Unfortunately, we are here. We are here already. So we just have to keep doing what we have to do. But hopefully, everything goes well. But please, let's be as safe as we can in the next couple of days, in the next couple of weeks, until every community we are able to come together and start discussing. And it just comes back to the fabric of the society, really. It comes back to that family unit. It comes back to that your friend that you meet at work. It comes back to all the people that you meet at the park and play. When we were watching England play in the Euros not long ago, there was so much discussions that was happening. Everybody was cheering each other on. We were all celebrating, wanting football to come home. And a few weeks down the line, look at where we find ourselves. It shows that deep down, there's some conversations that needs to be had about, you know, what does it take to be British? When someone drives all the way to Middlesbrough and he says it's because 95% of the black and Asians are problematic. How do you, how, what do you say about that? How do you educate such a person? That is years and years and years of being fed with a rhetoric that immigrants are the problem. So unfortunately, there's still some responsibility in our hands in terms of when we are out there, the way we communicate, the way we carry ourselves. It's a burden that we have to bear, sadly. But let's hope that it goes a long way in re-educating everybody that we are not here just milking the cow. We are here contributing to the system, making the system better. You talk about the contributions of immigrants to the UK. The children of migrants have been to places. The children of migrants have done amazing things, bring so many good things back to the British community. And hopefully, hopefully we are able to get to the desired result. Thank you very much, everybody. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully we are discussing more good news in the next few weeks. But today is a difficult one, but it's a conversation that has to be had because we have so many people all around UK. When we did our symposium, some people flew in from Northern Ireland and they went there to study as well. So we have people all over the UK in cities that people will not normally go. When JJ Okocha went to Bolton, people were saying, "Why did you leave Paris to go to Bolton?" Because normally You wouldn't go to Bolton, the weather, everything is not the places you go. But if you look at Nigerian students are everywhere. When I was in Manchester, I was sitting out at the train station. A guy saw me there. He said he schools in Bradford, he lives in Manchester and works in Wigan. You know, that how do you tell that kind of person that he's coming to milk the system? These are discussions that, people, we are not we need to highlight more. We need to talk about our contributions, and hopefully mainstream media will take some knowledge, and stop platforming people that are demonizing us. That is very, very critical as well, and I hope we get there. Thank you so much, Oluomo. Thank you, NIUK. Thank you to everyone that has joined in. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Toib. Thank you. Thank you for everything. You've been a blessing to the community as well. I mean, just gentleman. I mean, the Farah guy who drove actually from London to Middlesbrough. I mean, driving from London to Middlesbrough is almost 5 hours drive. So he's driven 5 hours to protest, and then he's driven 5 hours back to London. I still, I mean, the hate he has is this is beyond hatred. And I really pray he heals. So he heals one of these. I mean, I could say 95% of black nations are problematic. Wow. I mean, have you met all of us? And just like you said as well, when you look at the influx of Nigerians to the UK now, a lot of places many years ago that you probably never see a black person over in Nigeria, like some Plymouth, Devon, Exeter, Belfast, Newport, Swansea. I mean, we just came from Swansea last weekend. The way we trip into Swansea and the locals there. I mean, somebody was actually saying that he's never seen a amount of black people before in Swansea before. The way we tripped in over over the weekend. Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Toy, quickly, please, sir. Yeah.
To add to what you said, this recent event has just overshadowed what we did in Swansea. If you look at the economic value of that NIUK party, we are talking in excess of over £100,000. We had more than 250 people in that party. Everybody bought a train ticket. Everybody bought food. Like, people stayed in hotels, and there were local people working in those hotels that we stayed in. If you look at that economic value that was brought to Swansea that weekend, the place we went to eat, they must be shocked that they've not seen that amount of people coming, and they are employing staff as well. Security people were being employed, hotels got money, transport got money, some people flew in. So it's very, very difficult when you come around and say migrants are this, migrants are that. You look at the whole thing and think it is a symbiotic relationship. We are all benefiting from each other one way or the other. Britain is selling their higher education to people. What percentage of the British population goes to do master's degree? We need to look at that. International students come in, they pay this huge amount of money to better themselves. Britain gets the money into their system. International student gets the education, and everybody are getting value. And the Premier League, we all support the Premier League where we come from, and it's just that it's that symbiotic relationship. But some people are getting it really, really wrong, and they are being fed with lies. And I hope, things get really, really better. Thank you.
I agree. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Toy. In fact, a lot of Airbnbs were fully booked over the weekend. I mean, most people that I visited were in 4 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms. Even Swansea City Council charged us for using the beach. But I'll leave it to SK to maybe tell us more about the Swansea. SK, quickly, please. The mic is yours, man. Quickly, please, man. We have to go.
Oluomo, before
Oh,
SK, the taxi I
go on,
took,
go on.
I said
Yeah.
the taxi I
SK,
took,
just mute your mic, please, man.
the
Yeah,
driver
go on for
said,
my.
the driver said, "Oh, you're Nigerians. When next are you having another party?" Literally said, "When next are we having another party?" Like they felt it. But yeah, SK, over to you.
SK, are you washing dishes or what? It be like we can't hear this man. Maybe he's
Can you
washing
hear
dishes.
me?
Right? Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah,
Go ahead
yeah. I was
quickly,
saying,
quickly.
I was just listening since I didn't want to come up, but what Mr. Toib said triggered me. First of all, when we approached the council, one of the things we said to them was we when we're coming to do an event there, we're going to patronize the locals. Like almost everything we want to do, we want the local community in transit to benefit as well. The restaurants that we ate the welcome party on a Friday, that's the first time ever they had that much population in there. In fact, they said to me they had to employ two more staff for that night only, right? Same thing on Friday. Same thing with the welcome party venue. Same thing for the after party. In fact, the after party was sold out. You know, when I mean sold out, see, I don't even want to start talking about how much population we had that wanted to get crash the event. So yeah, the impact of that event into Swansea community, trust me, I didn't think about it before, but the way Mr. Toyev just explained it now, it's not downing on me. Like even the Uber drivers, like taking Uber from one place to the other, the Airbnbs sold out, the food, the tourism. People had to go to Swansea football stadium to just look about just have a tour of the stadium and all of that. So yeah, it's a good one, and I'm thankful for that. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Thank you, SK. Thank you for that. I'm glad you explained that situation. By the way, like I said earlier on, even Swansea's council they charge us for using the beach, but there's a conversation for for another day. So, Ryan, quickly, please, Ryan, we have to go. Ryan, quickly, please. The mic is yours.
Thank you. So I've been listening to everything that's been said. Thank you to everyone for your contribution. All I just want to say is that we should all be careful with what we retweet, with what we quote. I know sometimes you want to raise your points on certain things, but then you will once you requote that person post, then it's like a you're giving them more broad platform, and I think what we've experienced in the past few years is that you know these people has been platform even though with their horrible behavior they've had in the past, but thank God for Deadpool, they were able to change their names anyhow they wanted. So a lot of people couldn't even trace back to say, okay, oh, this is the person that committed so crime. So, and the thing is that some people here, I would say, they came recently to the UK, they might not know certain history of certain politicians. And well, I would say I am aware of Nigerians, blacks, being called into all these far right groups to be their influencers. They are actually paying them to be influencers for them. So when you're quoting, when you're thinking, you're reasoning with some people, you have to be careful because they are getting paid for a job. And the whole thing that is happening now is quite unfortunate because people are getting injured. The property are getting destroyed. People has their life saving that they've established and they just destroyed everything. And do you know what, in a way I'm kind of happy that it was even Kestama that is the PM, because he's been a director of prosecutor in the past, so it's easier in terms of when it comes to prosecuting people, especially when it comes to this kind of riots. But I still want to plead to my own people: stop quoting these people tweets, stop giving them platforms, stop broadcasting them. You're quoting a tweet. Yes, you're trying to make your own voice heard, but once you click that quote, when you're doing that, when you're clicking a repost, in terms of you want, I don't know, you want to broaden your own engagement or whatever, it's like you're putting the devil out there. These people are not like, you can sit with them. It's not like they don't know what they are doing, but they are so much, I don't know, like they've been brought. These people, they've been paid. They are doing job that they are being paid for. But unfortunately now it's backfiring. And what the PM I think released, was it a statement today again or yesterday, that anyone that is being, in terms of posting online and offline, that has to do with the riot, they are going to get arrested. And unfortunately, what a lot of people don't know, when you have the blue tick, that's that means that there there has some certain information that you've already left for Twitter that can't be traced to you. And the thing I always say to people, when the police want to trace you in this country, even if you say you have a faceless bot account, they will trace you unless they don't want to do it. If they want to do it, they will do it. So don't get caught in between all this rubbish that is going on. Don't be the voice for saying, oh, because I'm trying to reason with people. There are actually people that doesn't have common sense. You don't need to reason with them. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your submission, and thank you for what you do for the community as well. And just by the way, what you said, I think it was a video that went viral yesterday. Someone actually got arrested for a Facebook post. So he made a comment on that Facebook post. I don't know what the comment is. I've not seen it, so I can't say what I've not seen. But he was actually arrested by two police officers for making a post under the Facebook post. What was said, what was under the post, we don't know. I don't have a clue, but. I think it's something that we can all see that you can actually be arrested in the UK for even some comments on some tweets as well. So it depends on. So we'll have to sort of be very, very extremely careful. And listen, the person that was arrested was actually a British white person. So you will be immigrants. I'm not going to talk too much. From the arrest, you lead to immigration issues, and the rest will be history. You be on your own. Okay. Thank you, Roy, for that. Councillor Jermaine, 1 minute, please. We have to go, Councillor. Your closing remarks, and please, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much for inviting me here. And I just want everyone to be safe, stay safe. If you do happen to come under attack, or you happen to see other people witness a hate crime or racial hatred or Islamophobia, please do report it to the police. If you can't report it to the police, please do report it to get one of your friends or a family member to report it. It is so important. That's how we defeat these people. Um, and at the end of the day, you know, I, I'm sorry, I'm tired. I was struggling for my words here at 11 o'clock at night. Um, at the end of the day, we're all brothers and sisters. We all just need to watch out for each other. If any of you guys want to speak to me about this, then please do message me in my Twitter box. Obviously, as you know, I'm quite busy at the moment, but I will get back to you. More than happy to support any of you guys. Doesn't matter where you are in the country.
Okay. Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor Jermaine, Councillor for Ellen Coming in Turkey, Turkey Council itself, racial equality, inclusion at all times. Really grateful, always honored to have you on board and educating us, enlightening us at all times. I remember our last space before the election, there was a big back and forth debate, and everything came to pass. And also, just so glad to have you. We are one big family, and I believe we're making progress, step at the right time. So, Mr. Victor, 1 minute, please. The mic is yours. Your closing remarks, and please.
It's thank you so much, Olomo, and it's really been a great space. We've had over 1,000, when I counted, about 1,100 people listening in. It just shows that it's right. The community's doing the right thing, having a conversation like this. It's a tough one. It's hard. Everyone's emotional. Everyone's reflecting. I'm thinking back to all the events. Had so many conversations with people. But again, like we've all said, we just need to look out for each other. The point, I think it was Rai also who said about what we post. I think I sort of that's why I started with at the beginning. It's very important. I worked at the CPS when Keir Starmer was director of DPP, and I know that if there's one thing he wants to be known for now as PM is to be known as the Prime Minister of Law and Order. It will not. He definitely doesn't want it to be that in under his watch as PM, when he was formerly the director of public prosecution, that he could not handle this mess that's going on. He was the guy who was persecuting people back in 2011 when we had a riot. So of course he wants to make a mark there. So I agree with what the councillor said earlier on about this shouldn't last until September. I think this should soon die down. I'm more of a glass half full kind of guy, so I think this will end soon. This mess will be over, and I think as everyone was speaking, I was thinking about what else can we do in our own little space. I think apart from educating and looking after our families, to the extent we can, depending on where we are within our workplaces, is if we're in that place of influence, if we happen to be a director or a senior person, is being to have that conversation with our employers. They have DEI groups and the rest of it. They are it's time for, if you work in HR and the rest of it, it's time for you to start speaking to employers about what we do in relation to the mess outside. Can we just look at our policies and make sure we have our policies that are up to standard, because we need to actually call our people to order. If they're one of the people out there, we need to make sure we have robust policies in place as a business. So it's just things that I want to start thinking. And, if we happen to be in that place of influence to do that, if we happen to be governors, in schools, yeah, of course, really ring the head teacher and begin to have those conversations now. And I think there's a little things we can do to really try and get those people who are sort of asleep at the moment, because I just feel like there's a lot of people asleep. In 2014 and 2019, 2020, people are making so much noise about Black Lives Matter. All of a sudden, I can't hear any of those people speak. Everyone's just quiet. So I think ways like that might just be another way to really remind those people that they do have responsibility. They made promises that they were behind us, so they need to be behind us now. But again, as I say, let's in spite of what's going on, let's try and have some hope as we go to bed that things will get better. Sense will return. The PM and his people will do what they need to do, and take care everyone and look after yourselves. Thanks a lot, man.
Okay.
Thank you, and I.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you, Victor. Thank you, boss, for everything as well. Although we didn't see in Sheffield, so we didn't see in Swansea, but I guess the committee handled
I
this.
was supporting Nigeria in France. I was in France
Uh,
supporting our people in the
I'm not
Olympics.
disputing that, but you should have used that weekend away to know this weekend's NIK weekend. So SK, where SSK? Please send him the official handle fine and invoice. He'll pay £100 fine easily. That's no problem for him. So please, he deserves it. I know he can pay more, but let's just, because he's supporting Nigeria and France, let's just give him 100. I was gonna maybe send him an invoice for £500, but by the time he flies, maybe from Eurostar to Paris, book an hotel, during the Olympics period. Let's be reasonable. £100 fine we do. So yeah, you get a fine. SK, so please don't need for sir. Thank you. My sister Fuma, your closing remarks in place.
I just want to say thank you to everyone that submitted lots of insightful information. Thank you to all the guest speakers, and thank you to the team that came up with setting up this space. Lots of information has been shared, and I wish everyone safety. Please take care of yourself. Remember your friends. Just be extra vigilant. Thank you, and have a good day. Night.
Okay, thank you, Firma. Thank you, my wonderful co-host. So big thank you to all the listeners, all the anonymous listeners as well, the guest speakers. Was a bit of a short notice space. In fact, we decided to hold the space sometime this morning. I'm glad all our guest speakers did. Honor invitation from Michael to the councillors, Buki, Toyi, Mr. Victor, everybody else who came. Really, really grateful to have everybody on board. Listen, guys, let's stay safe. There's been I think about 17 different cities in the UK so far, from what's it called, Sunderland on Friday to Blackburn. I think on Saturday was Belfast, Bristol, Manchester, Hull, Liverpool, Leicester, Stoke, Nottingham, Blackpool, Portsmouth. Then yesterday we had in Rotherham, one of the worst in Rotherham, Cuba. They hosted our skipping asylum seekers. People came to the UK to take sanctuary. Was actually burned down. A lot of things happened in at the hotel itself, the Holiday Inn in Rotherham, in Middlesbrough. We saw happen in Middlesbrough, whereby if you're driving past in a car and you're a black person or Asian, that car will be attacked and stuff. Only white people are allowed to drive past in that vehicle. I mean, some of the things I've never had in this country, very, very disturbing. All the shots we had also happen in Bolton as well. The bottom truth is, what we are saying are clearly violent racist attacks targeting specific communities. There's no sugarcoating it. Let's call a spade a spade. The government has to do better, and I'm calling on the Prime Minister himself, Keir Starmer. A lot of us voted the Labour Party in. Is not good enough. The government itself has to stand up. We need to go back to the drawing board and say enough is enough. Let's put this far right in their places. Listen, because the black communities and nation community are quiet, and we seem to we're trying to be civil, doesn't mean we're stupid. We can also attack back, in our own defense, but we don't want to anarchy in the land. A lot of our black communities and Asian communities are very civil, whereas then a lot of us came to this country to work with. There's a lot of British Nigerians even on the space. You understand? I've seen a lot of handles tonight. They're British Nigerians. Understand? So it gets me irritated when I hear some things from some of these far rights. Guess what? Some of them probably even on benefits, whereby some of our taxes are actually sustaining their lives. So for me, the government response must be serious. One, which also ensures that the policing is directed to protecting all risk communities, but also actively very very much indeed. Likes of mosques, this kind of are being protected at all time of course. Avoid any discriminatory quick fix solutions. From so we need like a further deployment. I'll use the word deployment. Maybe like a facial recognition technology. Something that can obviously get people picked up. People are. I mean, what the prime minister did say is everybody will be, prosecuted some stage, but we have to wait and see. In 2011, it did happen. I mean, I remember in 2014, people were still being prosecuted for what happened in 2011. So a lot can also be done, and a lot of things can happen as well. Uh, Above all, for me, the government must address the root causes of racism. Maybe you like it or not. We need to go back to the drawing board, address root causes of racism. Islamophobia is also a big issue going on in the UK at present. A lot of that plagues when you look at our society, and this also includes actively calling out and addressing dangerous rhetorics, even within the political parties themselves. This is not about you, because getting to the parliament and stuff. When you call out the dangerous rhetorics, from politicians and commentators, not even on social media and elsewhere. I mean, look at it before the 4th of July, when you look at all the situation happen, even last of Rishi Sunak, stop the boats and stuff. All these are dangerous rhetoric. There's a way, the government could have, talk about, the illegal immigrants, the crossing of the boats from France to the UK, rather than just, sort of triggering a lot of the members of the public. But we're here where we are today. Let's just hope it will get better. So there's currently riots going on at present, to the best of my knowledge, in Birmingham and Plymouth as well. So please stay safe. Uh, like the advice we've read on the spaces, let's be more diligent. Look at surround this area. Try and avoid unnecessary journeys that you really don't need for now. Let's just see how things go in the next couple of days, and hopefully we will not be back here with this topic again itself. But please let's stay safe, check on each other, and look out for one another as well. Once again, a big thank you to everybody who joined the space. God bless you all. Take care, guys. God bless Nigeria. God bless the UK, and God bless NIK community as well. Thank you, guys. Good night for now. Goodbye.